Yeah.
Austin
Okay.
wants to know why you don't sound muffled when you're locked in my closet. That's a production question. I can answer that really quickly.
Hmm.
Because we do give him a microphone. He's
Yeah.
in the closet, but he has his own microphone in there.
The
Just
acoustics in the closet are
talking
actually really nice.
Yeah, it's
just
like
stick
we
his
put up
tongue out.
the like. He's got the like noise absorbing panels and stuff in there.
Hmm.
So it's
As you
look. I
can see,
mean,
it's quite spacious. Like, look around. It's not a bad closet at all. I'm not complaining.
and like it's really about like we're not trying to make his life miserable. We just won't let him go until he sells enough merch,
Hmm.
right? And so like he has to be able to record commercials and stuff in there.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're more
I need the space to be creative.
Yeah.
if you're more willing to do like Heghmoh ad reads like Myth is,
Hmm.
you get more freedoms. You get to sit
Yeah,
outside.
Hmm. Sure.
that's right.
I get a small window that I get to look at 30 minutes a day. It's pretty great. Hey guys, welcome in. Welcome to episode 22 of the Blurred Podcast. Got Heghmoh and Dex back again. And me and Heghmoh, I'm not gonna lie, I thought we got scotch free like away from out of recording this week, but didn't and quite end up working out like that. But
I'm
Mhm.
so happy to disappoint you.
we got really
And
close though.
we talked about it last week too. Like
Mhm.
I've got that like introvert tendency where
Uh-huh.
like if it's you've seen like the memes and stuff on TikTok or Instagram where like somebody gets the call and they're canceling plans and they're like, "Oh no." Well, they're
Oh
putting
no.
on their sweatpants and stuff and like pouring a
Yes.
glass of wine and
Yeah.
like nodding to their thumbs up to their partner and whatever.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
totally me. And like
Mhm.
it's not that I don't want to hang out with you guys or I don't look forward to it, but it's like if a plan that's scheduled is canceled, there's part of my brains that's like, "Fuck yeah, let's go."
Oh, absolutely. As there
Yeah.
should be, you know? Like who doesn't want a nice day off?
Yeah.
Um and that being said though, I do regret missing out on the paychecks that we do collect every week though. So
Mm,
that
mm.
it does kind of hurt my my wallet and my feelings when we do skip an episode cuz
Yeah,
yeah.
I did need I hate to do this on stream every time, but I've been trying to reach out to HR and like I still haven't gotten
Yeah, keep trying to reach out.
um oh
Yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
It's
Just
HR at
keep doing what you're
Blurred
doing.
Past Podcast, all right?
I keep
Mhm.
deleting those emails. I
Mhm.
just want to see other people talk about socks.
Yeah. Yeah, no, just keep reaching out to
I
HR. You're doing
I
what you
should
need to
send
do.
it. I should send an email in.
Actually,
That'd be fantastic.
I should pull up the emails. You should send an
Yeah.
email in, but you don't even know the email address.
Yeah.
So how's it gonna happen? Oh man. What have you guys been up to this week? How's it been going? Any exciting
Have you
news?
Um,
Vanabout? Let's
yeah.
talk about Vanabout.
Oh god. How's Vanabelle been?
Bad.
Really?
Bad, really?
I thought it was supposed to
Um,
be better this time.
I yeah. I think I think for like not doing all of it, like if you don't want to get gold, it's great. I think
Hmm.
the objectives overall have been better, but they're doing the thing again. They're doing the goddamn thing again.
What are they doing?
uh they're doing like the FOMO thing. Uh you get less points this time around than in previous iterations, it feels. So like I think if you want gold tier, you need to go like right up to the wire.
Mm.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I do think that like this is the first time I've done Vanabout.
Whoa.
I think I've gotten more points this week than I've gotten in the other 6 Vanabouts combined. And I think that the objectives are slightly more like I've said every single Vanabout, like, why don't we get an Omen objective? Why don't we get an Odyssey objective? And we've gotten an Omen and an Odyssey. I don't know if they're listening to me when I complain. I kind of feel like maybe they are.
Yeah.
So
They've
I'll
actually
There
just
was
bugged
keep
your house,
complaining.
Sigma. They're listening
Yeah.
not just only when you complain, but the other times too.
There was the same Odyssey objective, I think, like 3 times ago, and it actually ruined my entire Vanabout, so
Really?
yeah.
I mean, there are still annoying things like some of the quests and like going out and doing campaign ops and stuff. That's the only objective that I've skipped. Is there was one campaign op you had to do that required like a second tier medal from campaign,
So just
Mhm.
do
and
it.
I've never picked up a campaign medal, so I'd have to like get a promotion and all the other stuff, and I don't know what goes into that, but it felt like way too much work. So I just didn't do that one. But
You don't have Medal of Altana? What are we even talking about?
yeah.
I'll be honest, guys. I've been having a great time doing Vanabout.
I do think
What
it a lot more
I know
practice
well, I
power.
know how you've been doing Vanabout,
Uh-huh.
and it's the same way I used to do it, which is extremely fun. But
Yeah. Yeah, I'm having trouble empathizing with you guys because
No,
this might
like,
be the
if you're
best
doing
Vanabout
it
I've
this way
done.
if you're doing it the myth way, which is like, you guys are stupid, I'm over here on fucking
yeah.
island having fun. Um,
No,
if you're
see,
doing it
I
that
think
way, then
that
it's
yeah.
worse, right? Because you just get 1 less week of campaigns because Vanabat exists.
I do have an argument to make.
Well, quickly,
If
just for our listeners, the way I do Vanabout is I just don't do it. So,
he just doesn't do it.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That wasn't
Uh,
clear?
I I do wanna say, so, like, I wanna see a side by side.
Mhm.
If I could do that, it would take too much work, so I'm not gonna do it. So, we'll just imagine it. But I wanna see a side by side as like a YouTube video of like a time lapse of somebody doing all of their Vanabout objectives, right? From the beginning, every single day, 5 objectives a week, all the monthly objectives, all the other stuff, going through everything.
Mhm.
And then right next to that, I want a time lapse of somebody going through and doing all of their artifact quests and bringing those things to +3. And I
Mm,
bet you would you'd get your full set of +3 faster just doing the quests. But you know what I mean?
yeah, quite
I don't
possibly.
know. You only gotta get silver tier.
I mean, I'm glad that they still like put in something worthwhile into the Vanabout rewards. So I mean,
Yeah.
at the very least, like you're doing the completionism Vanabout for the campaigns and Cornelia and whatever else, and just enjoying the event, but also actually getting like a meaningful reward, being the AF +3.
Yeah.
Um,
I think they shot themselves in the foot way too hard the first time around
mhm,
with how, like, overtuned it was,
mhm.
and now all those, like, stretch goals, they're not even, like, real. They're just gonna
Oh yeah,
happen
they clear a
100%
lot
of the time.
faster.
It just
I
feels like a silly, like, hand wave.
Yeah.
I think it was, I don't know, like the wording on I was looking at the stretch goals um the other day at the Vanabout website. Let me
Mhm.
pull it up. Vanabout official website. So we're we're almost at a 200% completion. So like, and we still have over a week left, right?
Mhm.
So like we hit it. We're done. In the overall rewards, it says the final tier of 150% kind of sucks. It like doesn't really affect most people. It's the relic armor upgrade support campaign, basically killing statues to get your 100 kills to unlock Reforge will be counted for double.
Mm.
But I was curious about the wording of that. It says the following effect will be added to Dynamis Divergence Statue Crusher campaign going forward. So does that mean permanently forever?
It better.
Like if now from now on, whenever that campaign comes up, it's augmented with that change.
I have no idea.
I would like it to be that way. I mean, I think it's a silly way of them trying to promote their changes to Dyna D this,
Hmm.
past month, this month.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like,
I
"Look
mean, I
how
think
it's
it's
in
a
there."
interesting like concept in that like yes, we're gonna hit the objectives, but like you can say that like, oh yeah, ever since the community hit that goal, now this campaign is even better. It is kind of interesting in that way. It feels like you're a little bit more involved, but you combine that with the fact that they're listening to my feedback and
Mhm.
recording everything I say
Right.
to drive the future of the game. I think it looks pretty. It sounds pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What's the movie with Jim Carrey? It's the
The
Oh yeah.
Mask.
no, no.
it's the
You're
show,
thinking of
the
Truman Show.
Truman Show. Yeah,
Show.
yeah. So really, Heghmoh is like the Heghmoh show is an
Yeah.
experiment by Square Enix where he's been
Mhm.
raised by the company for all of these years.
Yeah.
And
No, I
then,
already
yeah.
have this I already have this insecurity
Mhm.
that I've expressed to Scoopy before where I'm like, am I really special? And like you've been placed here to like make me feel like I'm
Mhm.
good at stuff. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, why else are people watching me play Final Fantasy 11 online if it's not like part of some weird government experiment?
Yeah. No one else actually plays this game. We're all just paid actors. And we just kind of wanted to see what would happen with you being
Mhm.
addicted to a
Yeah,
really old game for this many years. We wanted to see what that would do to
exactly.
mental health. We wanted to see like how that increased your the tension in your real life relationships.
Mhm.
It's been a really fun watch, to be honest. But
And yeah, then it's been made, I assume, a reality TV show and
Mhm.
everything. So
Yeah.
Heghmoh's
I'm
not allowed
look.
to ride the airship. It'll just crash into like a painting of a skyline, and then he'll be in the set.
There we go. Oh man. Do you guys want to dive into the emails for the week? We have 4 of them, I
Just
believe.
for the episode, for the email.
Huh?
What?
Okay. Let's see.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
So our first email. Oh no, we only have 3 emails. Okay, so our first email is from. Let's see who wrote this. Somebody did. Oh my gosh, I don't see
I don't
their
know which
name at
one
the
you
end.
wrote.
This is translations and clarifications. Oh, this is Hikari from Reddit. Do you want to read this, Dex, or do you want me to take it?
You're already on it. Take
All
it.
right, perfect. This is Hikari from Reddit, and in case you are not familiar with that, Hikari helped with a lot of the translations. I think it was
Mhm.
on your post, wasn't it, Heghmoh, when we were
Yeah,
talking
yeah, yeah,
about
yeah.
the freshly picked stuff before the update. So shout out to Hikari for helping all with that stuff. That's really, really great. Um, and he starts, hey, my favorite, longest running, never missing a week FFXI podcast on YouTube 2025. That's a perfect time to announce, hey, we won't be here for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
This is Hikari, who translated the most recent freshly picked on Reddit. Kudos to Heghmoh for for saying the name right when you guys did the update. Oh, so am I saying it
Yeah.
right?
And now I don't remember what I said, but I think I said Hikiri.
Hikiri, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. Sorry for the sloppy phrasing when translating, but luckily you guys got everything right that I can remember in the episode. I just wanted to bring up some stuff that seems to have been missed in translation or buried along the way. Not specifically by
Nice.
all of us, but just the things that he's seen around from the past few things that have been put out. For knowledge/mastery rank, Square Enix said in Freshly Picked last week the email had Magatate, which is Magi, meaning picked, and Tate, meaning just now. So Magitate, not Magatate.
Ah, nice.
Knowledge rank increases based on days played, missions completed, quest completion, combat and magic skills, crafting and fishing, number of trusts, various endgame content completion, holy shit, various non-battle content, chocobo races, Mog Guard, and the Home Point collection. So play for a long time, cap all the combat skills, have crafts leveled, get all the trusts to cap garden. They did not mention it specifically, but I wouldn't be surprised if monstrosity is also included. I'm suspicious that everything non-battle related that has a campaign for it is, but that's just my thoughts. Another thing I saw some confusion is on the TH ring from Trove. The 5% effect is 5% more likely to proc the upgrades on Thief main. They specifically said it only works on Thief main since you can't proc it from the Thief sub. That makes sense. If it started procking on the Thief sub, that would be really interesting. Another was the weapon skill for
Bounty shot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, bounty shot, but I don't think it would have to be a separate like multiplier, wouldn't it? Or like a separate stat? I don't know.
Would it though? I mean, I've upgraded like someone's TH 10 with bounty shot,
Maybe.
like in party with a thief. But it makes
Bounty
sense.
shot does upgrade, I think.
hmm
It does.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, if they
Oh, with the
said it
ring
only
work on it.
works
Yeah, yeah.
for thief on the ring, they'd probably have to like tweak it to work with bounty shot separately. I mean. So another was the weapon skill for the Archduke's sword. The phrasing wasn't specifically about deleting weapon skills from the game. It was more like I'll remove this work that I was assigned so I can work on that. Haha. So it was less of a we've capped the amount of things we can make and more of a we're busy with other things statement. That makes sense. And if I could just comment on that really quick, if Square could just stop all the stuff that they're working on and specifically work on stuff that I want, I would be
Yeah.
really grateful for that. I don't know about what you guys think.
I think the same thing, but I think we have two very different opinions, and you're gonna be upset in my world.
Like I said,
I-
only what I want.
Yeah. See, I've been advocating for Square Enix to give me like a paid consulting role where they just come to me, they send me a check every month, and I just send them a few paragraphs of what I think they should do with the game.
I have a better idea. I'll do it for free.
Whoa,
Okay.
whoa, whoa. How can you? No, let's not put that out there. I don't think that's good.
To wrap up the
Anything
email,
you want in the world.
to wrap up the email, Hikuri says he likes hearing about different subjects on the podcast. The gear set episode was particularly informative, and he appreciates our incredibly scientific tier lists, which are accurate. And we're gonna have another one coming up relatively soon. And he closes with, "While I'm not a native Japanese speaker, I've lived in Japan for close to 15 years now, and I also have no life. So I'll throw out there that I'm open to helping with translation that we might come across." Well, that's really appreciated. We love that. And feel free to message on Reddit or email. Well, thank you, Hikiri. Really appreciate that. Thank you for the email. And thank you for being one of the first people to come out on Reddit and actually help with the translations.
Yeah, thanks
It
so
was
much.
a huge thing for the community to actually like
Well,
get a
I
little bit of
mean,
insight for that.
especially because like I think we talked about this last week, especially because like we're doing Google Translates and like people are like doing Google Lens of the
Yeah.
slides, and then
Grown-up thing.
yeah, and like we're like this says that they're gonna add an expansion to the game, and it's like doesn't say that at all. You know what I mean? Like we're just getting really hyped up about really bad
Yeah,
translations. So
dude.
like the faster information comes out that's true, the better. And so we definitely appreciate Hikiri and people like Hikiri for
And
helping
he's
us
great
out.
and all, but we've got bad news, right? He's not a native Japanese speaker, so that's all. It's all moot.
Okay.
Mm.
I I think one of these days, like the next time there's a big freshly picked announced and like updates announced for it, we should just like completely make up really wrong information and make an entire episode about it and just like see what happens.
Yeah.
Just for funsies. And we can say that it's
Oh, sure.
scientifically tested and all that stuff. And then if Ikiri is feeling really generous, we'll like sign his name on it or something at the end, even though it's no, I would never do that unless I was really bored. But anyway, thank you for the email. That was awesome. Okay. I just got an email from Heghmoh. Attention HR regarding Miss Pickle. All right. Do you want to go ahead and take the next one from Rustcool on Bahamut? Thanks. This is Solution to Gil.
Sure.
Oh, we talked
From
about this a
Russell.
little bit. Yeah.
I just listened to your podcast, and I think I have a solution to all the trust and
Mm.
gill issues we are currently suffering from.
Mhm.
I think that we should allow 5 mannequins inside of our Mog houses. Each mannequin could be dressed 16 slot usage. However, however player wishes, based off of the gear they currently own, and then applied to the trust of the job you assign. For instance,
Whoa.
you gear one mannequin with bard appropriate gear and assign it as the bard. It would then apply to said gear in the trust you call in the game, like Joachim or Olmia. In this scenario, you could gear 5 appropriate trusts without overpowering effects of gear swap, merits, job points, etc. As for the gil aspect, there could be a pay-to-play type structure on the mannequin usage, such as 1 to 2 million gil per mannequin per week, similar to Monbro's current situation. I think the Monbro situation is crazy that they haven't leaned more into it,
Hmm.
where like you can bolster his medicine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, I I did the vial elixirs like once, and then I was like, this isn't worth it, and I never did it again.
What for Mombro?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have Mombro, and I don't ever intend on unlocking him, to be
Well,
honest.
for those who don't
So
know, I think Monbro is the only trust in the game that you
Mhm.
can adjust. You go to him in Upper Juno and you trade him medicine, and he's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Thanks, I'll have this in my pocket," and then you get to use it later.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
on my original character, I did all the deeds, every month, and I had Monbro and had gotten a bunch of other stuff. And then when I lost that character and started a new one, I looked at it and I was like, I'm never doing that again. So
I do
I'm in the
really like
same boat as
it,
Myth. I don't have Monbro currently, but um I think that's a cool idea. I mean, sorry, is the email there's more to the email?
that's it. He says, "I love
Oh
the
yeah.
pod. Keep it up." Thanks, Russ Cole.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
I think
Yeah, I
that's
think
an
that's a
We
really
like that
interesting
idea a
cool
lot.
yeah.
cool idea, and like it kind of deals with a lot of the stuff. Like it kind of brings in the adventuring fellow stuff that we've talked about, with how that has a unique system of trading gear, and maybe like if they assign role types to more strict role types to those trusts, and you could set like your support type and your bard type and your core type. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
Mhm.
The monthly allowance for it is I don't know. I maybe that's makes sense. Maybe that's too much. Maybe it's too little, but could be cool. I think a lot of people would go for it.
I feel like newer players would be like, "That's way too much money,"
Yeah.
and then players who have everything are like, they're still too weak to justify paying anything.
Hmm.
Well, people were berating me today because I
Good.
started off in my
Okay.
Mog Garden. Yeah, I was started off my Mog Garden, and they're like, "Why don't you just sell all the stuff that you get to the NPC?" And I was like, "I have to click like 4 more things to do that. I'm just gonna throw it away." It's
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna go through another extra minute of my life
Right.
What, one
to
hit
go
kill?
to make like 5K. You know what I mean? It's just like I don't know. It
I'm
brought me
my
back to like the Arrested Development, like Lucille Bluth being like, "How much could a banana be? $10?" It's just like I'm
Yeah.
out of touch, sure, but
I have a fun anecdote for being out of touch. Like I don't know if I told this. I hate myself if I told this already. But when I went to the movies the other day, we got drinks, and my buddy was like, "How much is a beer? $18?" And I was like, "What are you fucking talking about?"
I mean, I don't know. Around me, I wouldn't be surprised to see an $18 beer. I
yeah.
went
People are
grocery
so
shopping the other day with my girlfriend for the first time, and I got like a very normal loaf of bread. And she goes, "Holy shit, that's $5!" And I was like, "When's the last time you went grocery shopping and actually like looked at the prices of food?" Because I'm the only one that goes grocery shopping in the house. I was like, you shut the fuck up right now. But yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Anyway, besides prices being crazy, back to the game. I don't know. I'm worried that if it's like one static set, I don't know how that would work. I like the idea. I do. I think it's a cool idea. Um, I would just
I
like
don't think it's enough,
more.
but I think it's a good step
Yeah.
if it were to happen.
Mhm. What if you could just like
Um,
make a like you could hold a wardrobe and it'll just
oh,
like
talking
automatically
now we're really talking.
it'll just
Fuck
automatically
you
equip
guys.
the gear
I
that's
just I just
best.
want space, man. Fuck it.
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever be like if it could hold a wardrobe, yeah, just to clear up your inventory space. Hell yeah, like,
That too.
but
Yeah.
if I don't think it'll ever be like able to be as efficient as a player. Like no,
Right,
no,
right.
and
For
nothing
sure.
like that will ever be as efficient as like gear swapping and having macro swaps for different instances and things like that. But if you could put a Yagresh on one of the white mages,
Mhm.
that's pretty fucking cool. And it would also, I think a lot of people would start making those weapons even if they're not playing white mage themselves. They would in like in terms of Square Enix's philosophy to encourage people to play the game more and
Mhm.
do and participate in all these different systems that are maybe antiquated. If everybody is like going out to make Yag rushes and Yaller horns for their trusts, then that's a lot of time spent into the longevity of the game. But
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I'd make a yellow horn for my trust. Hell yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Thank you for that email.
That whole
Rescue.
idea gives me like fighting game, like you make your own custom fighter and it's always like silly and stupid.
mhm.
I think it's like Soul Calibur where you can make like the completely custom one where it's like rainbow colored and looks really goofy. Or like a Mii fighter in Super Smash
Hell
Bros.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's always like Street Fighter does this. Anywhere there's a custom character creator in a fighting game, like there's two types of people. They're the people that like make somebody that looks cool or make something that like looks like a character from another IP. Like, in Street Fighter you have, Clive from Final Fantasy 16 or whatever, and they just make it look almost exactly in an uncanny way. And then there's the person that makes like this absolutely horrendous looking creature from just completely taking advantage of all the weirdness of the character creator.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
It's like watching a
I want that
Guillermo
for
del
fan
Toro
project.
movie. Okay. We have one more email, and that is from Sana on Bahamut or Sina, one of the two.
Sure, you want to jump in or you want me to take
It's
it?
all you, buddy.
Sina says, "Hi everyone. I've been listening to the pod for a little while and I've learned a lot. That not from us. You've been wrong podcast. But I have a couple questions. I just started playing again recently and I've been trying to get into the end game content. I have been mostly soloing, duoing with a friend, but I'm interested in joining pug groups to start picking up some of the better gear. I main warrior and have pathetically low JP, around 250, and I assume that is the biggest thing holding me back while solo. I have Nagling, Blurred Shield +1, and I've been running Omen with Trust, and I'm able to clear the 3 trash mob floors in about 40 to 45 minutes. I have a +2 and +3 artifact piece, but Gil is also holding me back. Do van about this time. I want to start doing some daily Odyssey, but I keep dying, even on Sheol A. Usually I will do something dumb or just get unlucky with getting hit with a bunch and my trust healers cannot keep up. Is there a certain amount of JP I should hit before worrying about anything else? I think this is a good time to answer that. I don't know if JP specifically is like a stopgap there.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's some moves that I would do while working on JP that could
Mhm.
probably help you out quite a bit.
It's like a combination of gear advances that'll make your JP farming faster, but also, be as much of a bonus to your character and so on. But yeah.
Yeah.
it's definitely job dependent on how much JP impacts the job, right? But
Mm.
I don't think Warrior especially sees a significant like I hit 2100 now I'm god, you know?
Yeah. Um I don't feel like the warrior job points are like super game changing. They're not like some really big ones like I what a big one that comes to mind would be like blue mage 1200 job
Yes,
points.
which is probably the
Yeah.
most
Um
impacted.
stuff like that. I don't think warrior has any like super crazy stuff, but what I would do personally if I was in your shoes, I would work on getting those job points from the stuff that you're already doing. Omen is really good. Uh I would not try to solo segments is something that I could recommend. If you have the ability to low man, I think you said in your email that you go with a couple friends relatively regularly. I would go
Yeah.
into segments and just do like Sheol A for a little bit, get some XP, get some gil. But I would also take those same friends and I would prioritize sortie. Because getting the Empyrean +3 or +2 gear, not sorry, not +3,
+2. Yeah.
the Empyrean +2 gear will be a huge benefit on Warrior.
Yeah, significant.
It's Yeah, so like if there's two things that you can get, which should be relatively feasible to do, one would be sortie plus 2 gear. The DT on that is incredibly good. It'll help your survivability a lot. And the other thing is if you have anybody that can help you access Kolunga V0, so you can get the base
Yeah.
Sakpata set, that would also be like a huge. Just those two
That would be
sets
enormous.
would like do be a huge boost right there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Sakpata like that's the gold. Like anytime somebody's talking about, I'm coming back to the game. How do I contribute to
Mhm.
X or do better? Like for solo play as fast as possible. Like to me, the easiest answer to that is get Nagling, get Sakpata, play warrior, and you'll be like a
Yeah.
pretty good percentage of a warrior in terms of damage at that point. Has DT, it has everything you need, all that stuff. um and yeah, they and like working on Empyrean too, like Empyrean +1, it takes 10,000 segments per piece to upgrade. Warrior can use all of it, like almost the entire set is very good for warrior.
Mhm.
But like you can do a lot if you just add that, even if your friends aren't all available at the same time. Maybe like a couple days of the week, you try to farm some stuff with your friends and you make 2,000 Galma free, but at the same time, if there's days that you're just playing solo, maybe you have different play schedules or whatever, like I can't remember exactly what it was. Shiraj knew because he was doing it on a new character. There's like a pretty good number of completely non-combat solo objectives
Yeah.
that you can run into solo and sortie do solo,
Yep.
and get like a decent amount of Galma free for
I think it's
30
up to
or
10K
45 minutes of running
without
around.
breaking
Yeah.
any bosses, just like
Yeah.
as a new player experience.
Mhm. Yeah, so I would try to do the non-combative ones where that could probably net you about 1,000 points around at least. If you have your friends, I would try to do the like 3 kills in a certain way, maybe
Yeah.
even the like wandering NMs. If you wanted to give that a try, just make sure, especially if it's your first time and you only have like 2 or 3 people and you're under geared, make sure you have re-raise up so
Yeah.
you don't like die to the deleterious or something, because that guy will
Yeah.
do some damage to you.
He'll kill. Yeah. He'll
Yeah.
kill like a well-geared player
Right.
sometimes doing something dumb.
Yeah, I'd go for like the Abdella first because that's an easy
Hmm.
like 400 points, and then if you get the chest, there's lots of ways, and I think for a new player, the +2 Empyrean gear is just so strong.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that you said earlier, a few people in chat have said too, like playing. It's important to remember you're getting to the part of the game where you're playing an MMO now.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
yes, a lot of the game previously was a solo experience in a lot of ways because they've changed the way the game just for convenience works. But you're getting to the point where you're going to benefit very highly from finding a community, finding link shell, finding a Discord or whatever,
Mhm.
and starting to join groups, do dynamic divergence with a group, start doing vagary clears and stuff like that because you'll need them anyway. Yeah, it's that would be very beneficial as well.
They're on Bahamut, right? I wonder how the Pug and Shout community is over there.
I
Mm.
would what I would do if you're on Bahamut is I would reach out to Vire in our Discord, and I would gaslight him into helping you with
Oh,
a
that's
Kolunga clear.
the
Yeah. Or
oh,
I'm sure we could reach out to some other Baja Martians that we know,
Yep.
whatever Bahamians are called. But yeah, there's I think Bahamut's a good place to be on to get a little bit of help to get that sock pot set. Unless you and your friends really want to do it the old fashioned hard way. That's a big step up from where you're at right now. Let's go
there's
ahead
a
and dive into the second paragraph.
second, if I'm low manning with 2 to 3 people and we have me on warrior and some casters or other DD, should I be tanking or should we be using a trust tank? I know warrior isn't really a good tank, but I tend to have aggro most
Whoa,
of the
whoa,
time
whoa.
and I feel squishy. I am planning to do rune next and we can so I can actually tank, but I also want my Chango and I don't want to split my focus until I'm able to fight Warder of Courage. I have or I haven't really done Limbus yet, but I did start looking into it to try to pick up the Murky Ring and Alabaster Earring for some DT. Are there any other pieces that are really easy to pick up for some DT on my DT set for Warrior? I know I need Defending Ring. Oh, wait, I'm misreading this. I know I need the Defending Ring at all. I think there was a
I
don't,
don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I need it. Yeah.
but I don't think I can fight Sovereign Behemoth yet. I know JP is probably the answer here too. But solo JP farming by spamming Savage Blade on Fs and Mo caves is soul crushingly boring.
Mhm.
Thanks for all the content, and it's been helpful so far. Well, thanks, Sana.
Nice. I think you can tank on Warrior. I do it all the time. I tank Dynamics Divergence on Warrior. I exclusively play Warrior. But yes, the answer is DT. If you're not DT cap, that's why you feel squishy.
I
Yeah,
do think we
so
kind of said already in that when you're not doing like the things you are doing, your focus should be trying to group up and do a
Mhm.
low man Empyrean run
yeah.
in sortie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think,
like to break it down like super simply for where sign is at like right now. Get your AF plus 3 from Vanabout first.
mm,
Once you have that done, start collecting a couple hundred points from Sortie and start trying to network to see if anybody can help you out to get Sakpata. Between that, since you have your MP plus or your AF plus 3 and you're working on your Empyrean, try to start getting into the solo Dyna so you can unlock your relic and start soloing Limbus. And Limbus is going to help you upgrade your artifact while you're also getting job points. So there's no need to even go out to the gates anymore because Limbus has
yeah,
really
you'll
filled
get
that
CP
niche.
and Limbus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, they hit the nail on the head, right? Doing the Limbus the first time, there's that guaranteed matter for both zones, and
Mhm.
that ring and earring are amazing.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah. And
should
in fact, you don't need Defending Ring. I
You
think
don't.
Murky Ring has fully replaced Defending Ring in the meta. It's easier to get
Mhm.
and it's better. So like you can just fully skip defending. Murky has, is gonna
But if they
fill that
already
role for
have the
you.
defending ring, I think both are quite strong to like use together. Just
Mhm.
Until
where
until you have other options, until you have other options for DT, I think that both is a huge amount of overkill if you have Sakpatas and everything else.
oh,
But
but
yeah,
I'm assuming they
yeah,
don't have Pada.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah, once they would get it, they would cut the defending ring out for sure.
Yeah. So work on that JSE. Um, I think just because of the ease of access from Vanabout right now, Artifact plus 3 is so huge. But definitely like the Empyrean and Zapata stuff is going to be like where you get a lot of your DT and defensive stats from. You should be tanking on Warrior most of the time. But
yeah,
that has a gear threshold that you need to meet first, right? So if you're getting beat up, then maybe you need to change some buffs around. I don't know if he said what jobs his other friends are playing. But
No.
let's say you have like a Geo or a Bard or even a Core. That's just one of them. Like things like Indie Barrier, things like a Knight's Min, things like a Gallant's
yeah.
Roll can go a long
Gallus
way if
roll.
you're getting beat up. So like take care of that first before you start worrying about like Sam rolls or like even more attack bonuses and stuff. Like if you're dying, those attack bonuses aren't going to help you.
Based on how they've talked about their experience, I would say they're the kind of player that is now in that awkward transition period where tank trusts and DD trusts and
Yeah,
anything that isn't a buff from a trust is kind of falling off really hard.
Yeah.
So like they'll pop a tank trust and then the first weapon skill pulse hate and they never lose hate again.
Hmm.
hmm
Um yeah, just getting used to that transition and being used to taking the front of the damage and having the trust be more of a support role, that's going to help you a lot more.
Yeah.
Use the gear to augment yourself in a different way. Adjust your sets. We've
Yeah.
already pointed at all the right things to work towards.
Yeah. I think you are at it in the spot that you're in. I think this is a really good time to be in that spot because especially with like the Vanabout stuff going on. Like I said
yeah.
earlier,
Solo Dyna
I'm
entry and
never
all
gonna
that
do
stuff.
it. Yeah, the solo Dyna entry is amazing. I think everybody should be doing that. Um, yeah. just don't be afraid to like go into sortie and even get a little points, or don't be afraid to go into sortie and just fail. Like that's okay.
Yeah.
I,
You do
I,
it all
I
the time.
yeah, I do. Like I did my sortie run the other day and I fucked up. I warped out and I was like, oh no, I get an hour of free time. I get to go like hang out with my girlfriend. What am I gonna
Yeah.
do? Oh god.
Dang.
Oh no, guys. Um like it's perfectly fine to go in
Yeah.
there.
I mean, I think it's
Chokehold
also we've.
on my life.
Oh, what are you saying, Dexter? I talked over
I
you.
said I prefer this game having a chokehold on my life.
Oh yeah, of course, of course.
Like grip.
I also think like it's easier to it's easy to look people come into stream or ask all the time that are like, oh, how much Gallifrey you're getting? Oh, you're like, I only get X amount. It's crazy that you get 50K or whatever a run, or people that are doing Ammonon, you're getting 80K, and it's just like, oh, that's insane. I wish I could do that. And like I think it's just, again, as a public service announcement, it's important to remember that like most of us started off getting 2K a run. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like we would go in and not even fight a boss. We
Yep.
would do like Abdella and some random objectives and be like, hell yeah, we got 5K Gallimaufry this today. We'll get a +2 by tomorrow. That's insane. Like and you'll slowly build up to that.
Mhm.
And that part of the progression in front of you is daunting and there's a lot to work through. But remember that you don't have to immediately skip to the end. Like you can work through and you'll learn a lot more just kind of like going through the paces.
Yeah. To put a little bit of context on that, for people that do like the 8 boss melee method, which I will say in my opinion is probably the hardest way to do sortie, but the most common because it's got the most jobs that people actually play.
Mhm.
Most people aren't doing a successful 8 boss until they have at least one stage 3 prime, because
Yeah,
it adds a lot of diversity to the damage that you can supply to the different fights. That's
for sure.
so I would never like be like expecting to go in for your first couple times with and seeing people like Heghmoh doing 8 bosses, or people like Dex getting over 90K in a run because he's
Yeah.
doing Ammonon and 20 other objectives. Like that's not the norm.
Yeah.
That's the people that are like you know how people with money always talk about how they have money, and they're like, but
Mhm.
people who don't have money like don't talk about it because why not? It's the same with Gallimaufry, right? The people with Gallimaufry are the ones that you hear about because they're the ones that are like talking about it, and the people
Right.
that are out there grinding for, I don't know, 20K a day or less are probably not talking about it as much.
Or
So
should I
it's
stop
okay.
talking about it?
What's up?
Should I stop talking about it?
No, preach it from the rooftops. I
Oh
want
well, we got the best run last week. We got 94.2.
I know.
94.2. That's
Yeah, it's very
crazy.
impressive.
In a single run.
Hmm. My favorite part about that is you don't even have anything to spend it on anymore because you're just waiting on
Yeah.
Zay.
No,
My
I'm
fa-
just clogged. So I'm sitting on my mountain like Smaug.
yeah. My favorite part about that is that like even if you were making you did that every single time. You make 94,000 Gallimaufry a run.
Mhm.
That's what, like less than 700K a week. So you're still looking at like what, how many weeks to get a full weapon. It's pretty crazy when you think about like the absolute pinnacle of what you can achieve in terms of Gallimaufry is still 6 to 8 weeks of of like perfect farms.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty nuts.
It's what, 650 a week times 4. That's 2.6 mil a month times, it's like what, 4 months? No. So you're overshooting a stage 5 in 4 months, but the stage 5 is time gated by Sykes by 6 months. So you have a
Yeah, yeah.
2 month lead to just do whatever with.
Hmm. You could
It's nice to have it anyway.
you could start saving for your extra prime, which is every piece of +3 Empyrean gear, which I think costs as much as H5, right?
Yeah,
Or,
it's the
like, right
same
around
same
there.
cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People have rightly identified this on the forums, in that like any group that does 9 boss every day
hmm
will vastly overshoot the psychs
Yeah.
in terms of their progress for making a weapon.
hmm
So it's kind of like a moot point as to who's bragging about I'm doing X or I'm doing Y. It's like it's
Yeah.
all icing. All of that is icing.
Also, how, like, I'm not trying to rub anything in or get any salt out of Dex, but how many groups have you churned through doing 9 boss? You know what I mean? Like, the
Quick
burnout
way.
rate is pretty high, right?
I think that's a tough thing to say because of my specific group's playtime.
Right, true.
The slot has been the biggest issue, rather than people wanting to do the content. I've had,
Right.
I want to say, like 6 or 7 people that have left over the course of the last 2 years that would love to keep going with me, but it just time does not permit them. Like they're
Hmm.
they're
Yeah, that's
sacrificing
fair.
sleep to run with me, and they're like, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah. That's fair. I even my group that just like I feel like they just started. I don't know. It was maybe a month, maybe two ago, and we haven't gone at all this week. And I can't tell you
That's
if
horrible. I
I'll give
blame
you a
you.
little secret. I'm not very upset about it.
I blame.
And it has nothing to do. It's not that I don't like the people or anything. I like everybody in that group a lot, or else I wouldn't have joined it. It's just that like I can just do other stuff or just enter like when I feel like it. I don't have to keep to a schedule or anything like that. And
Right.
it's kind of, oh hey, there's a shout or do whatever I want, and it's great.
Nice.
It's all about ease of access for me, but that's just me. Okay. Um, I think that's it for the emails, isn't it?
No,
Oh, yeah.
there's a new one that just came in.
Oh yeah, I already responded to that. We're not gonna read
He
that.
deleted it already.
Yeah, something about somebody asking to get paid for co-hosting the podcast. That's not gonna happen. So good luck. Or maybe I'll Venmo you guys like the 50
Mm,
cents that I've made
hell yeah.
from
Oh,
Yeah.
ads on the YouTube channel so far.
wait. You can do that? I'm
Okay.
gonna start pushing for that now. You put it
Yeah.
out there.
50 cents every 2 months. You got it. You got it, buddy.
Understand how much big bread I could get with that?
All right. So we've been asked to do job episodes in the past. And if there's one thing about me is it's if you ask me enough or complain enough, I'll eventually just cave in because I'm tired of listening to people complain.
Oh,
Um
good to know.
so 3 people asked, so I caved, right?
Oh, it's not
Uh
about doing it repeatedly, it's about how many people do it.
yeah, yeah, it has to be more than one person for sure.
Alright, I'm gonna tell my friends
Mhm.
to send you emails and messages and stuff.
Great.
You'll
Um
never listen to me, but if someone else says it.
Absolutely. So we are going to go ahead and soft launch our job series. And we're going to
Mm.
start with a really interesting job that I enjoy watching other people play because I don't play it at all myself. I've kind of wanted to play this job before, but every time I think about starting another job, I kind of die a little bit inside. And this is Blue Mage. So
Mm.
I invited
Mm.
one of the best blue mages I know, who
Heghmoh.
also just happens to be a co-host. Yeah, Heghmoh.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so Dex, you've been playing blue mage for a really long time. Uh,
Ever. Forever.
for someone who doesn't really know anything about the blue mage job, what would you kind of describe blue mage's role when it comes to like parties, when it comes to like solo play? What is the job about?
I would describe Blue Mage as a utility DD, but I would also say it's like a jack of all trades.
hmm
Mm.
I think utility DD is like the best way to put it.
Okay. What do you think like separates it from some other jobs, like say Red Mage or even like Corsair? Because like Blue Mage kind of have some buffs, it kind of has some debuffs, it casts, it dual wields, it's got multiple damage types to an extent. What's some unique stuff about it?
Well, Blue Mage just brings everything to the table. Blue Mage If you think of something a job can do, Blue Mage can do it.
Okay.
Other than like rolls, like it can still buff players with diffusion.
Hmm.
So it can provide an attack boost to your party. It can heal your party. It can give your party stone skin. It can put out strong damage numbers, like in some cases Dark Knight or like Ninja, or I don't know, like it's not putting out heavy DD numbers, but it's putting out damn near.
Right. Yeah, I've
Um
definitely seen Blue Mage, if not completely outdo, then very well keep up with some heavy DDs in specific situations. Not always, but it can definitely do some damage.
Especially with like, the right gear at
Mhm.
Tizona.
Yeah. Were you playing Blue Mage in the 75 era?
Absolutely.
How
On
was it?
release.
Yeah, how was it then on release? I remember when TOAU came out, I was running through the dunes trying to find the boat to get to Ottergan. I was trying to go to Selbina so I could actually get the boat to the new town. And there were probably like 50 blue mages all casting cocoon on themselves in the dunes simultaneously. It was kind of like a fever dream. Everybody thought it was like the most busted job. Everybody was
Yeah.
playing it.
Kind of
It was
was.
really interesting.
Um eh, when you got Blue Mage unlocked,
Mhm,
not only did you get that like 50% defense boost right off the rip,
mhm.
like within the first few levels. um at level 18, they got a spell Bludgeon
Yeah.
from
Yep.
Guardians, and you could just substitute any amount of jobs in your party from in the leveling experience with Blue Mage, and just everyone spams Bludgeon.
Mhm.
Because back then, you'd spend like a full minute getting the 1k TP, and then you do like a 100 damage weapon skill.
Yeah.
Whereas Blue Mage could cast Bludgeon every like 6 seconds and do like 60 damage or 70 damage.
Right.
It was like a
Yeah.
decent weapon skill that was spammable without
Yes.
TP. I remember being in parties with like 3 or 4 blue mages, and it's just like like just everybody launching off bludgeons, and it was just like it
Yeah.
felt so goofy, but at the
Mobs
same time,
explode.
like yeah, things would die so fast.
Mhm. Were people
Basically
looking
back
at
then,
it as a tank even back then because of Cocoon?
not really a tank, but like more sturdy than any other like typical DD.
Okay. Cool.
But I would say back then Blue Mage was much more spell centric, like physical spells.
Mhm.
Um, but magical too, but mostly like physical. In that physical spells in the modern era have fallen off heavily.
Mhm.
Um, back then, your spells were essentially weapon skills that you could just cast freely.
Yeah.
Um, at the 75 era, or at 75 in that era, you could very easily solo merits. I remember going to the Heraldic Imp camp where people were meriting, and
Mhm.
I would solo and get like chain 25, just stealing imps from other
Hmm.
parties, just camping on top of them. You'd pull one, you'd be like frenetic rip, disseverment, hysteric barrage, headbutt, and the mobs die, and then you rest until right before your window closes, and then you grab a new one.
Right. Yeah. I remember trying to do that on Paladin, thinking I was cool, like going Paladin sub ninja and like trying to solo the imps. It was a lot of fun, but I died a lot too. But it sounds like Blue Mage was a much better job for it for obvious reasons.
I'd say for like Zerging EXP mobs,
Mhm.
very few jobs came close to that. And then outside of that aspect of the job, like it wasn't really good at doing melee stuff
Mhm.
for high level content, but then you could change what your role was, right? It's one of the only jobs in the game that could change what its preferred way to play was for any piece of content.
Mm.
So if you were playing Blue Mage and uh the piece of content you were doing, like an H&M fight or a worm like Oryu or Vertra or whatever, Tiamat, if you were doing that piece of content, you don't bring a melee that's swinging dual wielding swords and just getting killed. You
Right.
bring like a heavy DD or mages, right?
Mhm.
So Blue Mage could then sub Thief and do like a full defense build and sneak attack, trick attack, cannonball mobs, and give hate to the paladin, and still do like a massive burst of damage.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that being in a lot of ways kind of the meta back then, especially around the ZNM era. That was a big one. The sneak attack and trick attack. You farmed most of your spells back then, I would guess. Is that right? Obviously, you've had to farm more as
Some
they
of them
came
were
out.
a nightmare.
Do you think spell farming has changed today, compared to how it was back then?
um, in concept, no. I mean, like, it might be easier to do now simply due to, out leveling something,
Mm-hmm.
being able to use
Mm.
the books to skill up your skill to a point where you can just go up to the mob and, you know, learn it by accident.
Yeah.
I think back in the day, you had to, manually learn the low level spells and then use those to skill up to learn the higher level ones.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to keep your skill maxed all the time. But also, back in the day, leveling was a lot more granular and you were able to
Yeah.
keep your skills relatively capped as you were leveling.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, you level too fast to do it.
Well, I mean, like I remember the pressure of like even that on warrior, like or like a monk or something, and you level up and you're like, oh crap, I'm behind on combat skills. Or like you switch weapon types and you're like, I've been using a sword this whole time and I'm supposed to be using a great axe and I gotta spend a few
Yeah.
days like, and so even more so on Blue Mage back in the day, like you have like, if you got to an EXP camp on a
Mm-hmm.
DD and they were like, "Oh, hey, we're doing uh Tachi Jinpu into Rampage." I don't know if that's skill chain, but like, and you were like, "Ooh, I don't have that unlocked yet." They'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, What?" You know what I mean? Like, you should
Yeah,
unlock that
oh,
3
dude,
levels ago.
we're inviting
Um,
someone else.
and so like Blue was, for all its versatility, it has all these access to all these spells, but like there was so much more responsibility with it in that like if you showed up to the party and you're like, oh, I don't have that spell, I haven't got it yet.
You had
Like you're like, oh, whoa.
or you'll
uh,
be paying it, and then you have to go out and learn after the party ends.
yeah.
Yeah. Or they'll just kick you. Yeah. Definitely I think Blue Mage probably suffers from that or suffered from that back then more
Mhm.
than a lot of other jobs.
And like I recently leveled Blue Mage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I leveled Blue Mage a while ago. It was one of those, I'm going through this like process of taking on some of the tasks that I refused to do for decades. And so I've been playing a little bit of Blue Mage and getting into the habit of learning spells and stuff like that. And the modern era of it, like you guys alluded to, is infinitely easier now, I would say. Because like, yeah, you buy books with sparks, you cap your magic skill, you get your artifact gloves before you've ever cast a blue magic spell, and then you accidentally learn most of everything. um
I know that I haven't like really done a dive deep into Blue Mage or anything, but I have leveled it on an alt before. And I think what happened is I got it to 99 with no spells. And then
yeah.
I went out and learned foot kick and I just spammed foot kick until I got capped skill. And I gotta say, like, it felt good spamming foot kick, man. Like
Oh yeah.
it was cool. It was a cool little spell. Like Blue Mage's casting action is really funny. Or is
Oh, I
not it's
love it.
not funny, it's just really cool. It's very
Mhm.
different from the other ones. And just like seeing a little like brown dot like jump up and like wallop the mob is really cool. So I love me some Blue Mage spells. They're very unique.
As a you know dedicated Blue Mage player, the best thing on earth is like the fact that you have your swords out. Um, Everyone knows that like when you cast frequently and often, the animations sometimes get wonky.
Hmm.
And you'll have your two swords out, and then you'll cast the spell, but sometimes you'll hold the swords while the spell's going through, and you have
Oh
it
hell
like
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
crossed over your arms. It's really sick.
Hell yeah. Um, Heghmoh, how was your experience these days? Did you have fun doing that? How was it? I assume you didn't go out and make a party to farm spells like you did in 75 era, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I remember back in the day, people in the link shell or link shell, like, when blue was new or whatever, being like, oh, I'm going to go out and try to learn X spell. And they'd be at it all day. You know what I mean? Like, it would be like the achievement of the week to learn some rare spell.
Damn.
Um, I basically, I went out, I got the, I had learned some blue magic spells for paladin.
Mhm.
Like I had learned cocoon and some of the basic ones. And I had considered playing blue mage at one point a year or so ago, and I went out to learn delta thrust.
Oh, right.
And
Yeah.
I don't know, I might have been under the required skill cap and just not known it, but I swear I was out there for like an hour or an hour and a half trying to spam dia on these mobs to get them to use delta thrust. Never learned it, and I was just like, you know what? Confirmed. This jump sucks. I'm not going to play it.
Yeah.
And recently, when I finally got back, somebody said something about Blue Mage or something, and I was like, you know what? I'll give it one more try. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna try to learn Delta Thrust again, and if we learn it in 5 minutes, I will play Blue Mage. I capped my skill first. I just went and spent all my sparks on books, opened all the books, and then I went out and we learned it on like the second mob. So I was like, well, okay, I guess I'll play Blue.
You have to,
And
yeah.
since then, like learning spells has been really actually like surprisingly easy.
Mhm.
Like the few that I've target farmed are usually pretty fast to get. Especially now, like you can put on like level 1 weapons or something just to feed TP if they're high enough level, or you can dia spam to feed them TP.
Mhm.
Um, and usually like within 1 or 2 uses, you'll learn it, and it's pretty quick. And then a lot of my spells, like I've just been running Limbus, and I think I've learned everything I can from Limbus just by accident. Like just running
Right.
through, and I every time I run, I look at my spell list. I'm like, oh, cool, I learned 3 more spells.
So is
To
there
get the job up,
a
you kind of got to get a small list of things just to have enough utility and shit. But
Mhm.
you can just kind of chill and learn things as you go.
Is there a resource that people can look at to find out which spells are worth getting? Like, especially if, somebody doesn't want to go out and farm every single spell that exists out there.
Not really. I mean, you could look up some of the gear guides,
Mhm.
and they'll have a decent spell set, and you can kind of just try to mimic that spell set and go for those spells. But
Mhm.
it's not like a good resource for that specific.
I would recommend, this worked for me pretty well. If you co-host a podcast with Dex and you start playing blue, he will
Right,
send
yeah.
you spreadsheets upon
Okay.
spreadsheet of blue spell arrangements, and that's the best bet.
So when can we look for the Blue Mage spreadsheet guide by Dex on PG Wiki?
Hopefully never. I don't want to make it.
Yeah, it's fair. Okay. Um, so here's another question before we start like getting into the deep dive stuff of Blue Mage is how's Blue Mage changed over the years since the 75 era? Because obviously, like you said, the physical damage from spells really has fallen off. The magic damage from spells has gone up, I would guess, as that's a very popular like XPing method. How's Blue Mage changed, Dex?
Um, in the Abysia era, I think Charged Whisker was the first spell that was like you could stack Mab and Dex and just go around and cleave things, and it
Mhm,
was really powerful. Um, in the modern era, Blue Mage is the king of cleaving. Like no job comes close to it.
mhm,
You you have so many spells that do massive AoE damage, and you have so much utility to keep yourself alive in doing so.
okay.
Nothing comes close to that. Um, but at the same time, I wouldn't call Blue Mage the king of nuking because your single targets are terrible. You can't really magic burst.
Right, right.
I would say the pace of the game has really antiquated Blue Mage's ability to shine as its role of skill chainer.
Hmm.
In the 75 era, you could self skill chain things, and you generated TP so slowly back then that it was kind of impactful, right? To do, you know, weapon skill, chain affinity spell, burst affinity, magic burst. You can still do that, of course, and it's strong when you're playing solo,
Yeah.
but that is not an aspect of the job that's really getting utilized now at all.
Yeah, I think like you were saying earlier, where like the initial bludgeon spam of blue, right? Where like you were doing weapon skill level damage faster than weapon skills could ever be. Because like, just as a reminder, weapon TP building was so much. None of us were haste capped.
Hmm.
None of us had store TP. It would take a while to build TP. So skill chaining was like how you did damage. And if blues are doing that level of damage just on 6 second cooldown, it was crazy. And so like Blue Mage's one of Blue's core identity was that it could solo skill chain and magic burst using job abilities and spells. So
Hmm.
like they were able to put out skill chains and bursts faster than anybody else could. Um, with the way the game's changed, now we are all loaded up in store TP. We're all haste capped, all this other stuff. They're now actually slower slower than everybody else because they have to rely on these built-in timers to do, you know, burst and like coordination of the bursts and the chains and all this other stuff. So they've almost like flipped their positioning in their advantage. What was their core identity advantage is now a disadvantage.
So we're talking about burst and chain affinity, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
So how do those really work? They're both on a minute timer, and is that right? And they like one will allow your blue magic to burst, and one will allow your blue magic to skill chain with something. Is that it?
Correct. They're not a minute, they're 2 minutes. I wish they were a minute.
They're 2 minutes? Oh my God. Oh, okay. And
That's
yeah, so you can't magic burst or skill chain without those, right?
correct.
With your blue magic, not with your weapon
Right.
skills.
So
Traditionally you
your
can, yeah, but
magical
yeah.
magic will never burst without burst affinity or Azure lore, and your physical blue magic will not apply its skill chain properties to a skill chain without chain affinity or Azure lore.
Wow. Okay. That kind of blows, to be honest.
Yes, it does. It's
Uh,
terrible. So that was
Oh,
like
Blue Mage
thing
sucks. Let's end the episode.
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the like thing I would change about blue. I would give them like stratagem charges or something.
Yeah,
Chain
Okay.
that'd be
affinity.
cool.
I think we should delete blue and make thief the best job. All right.
I don't know, it's kind of irritating, right? Because the same expansion that added Blue Mage added Corsair, and Corsair gets 2
Yeah.
charges quick draw. Like,
Mhm.
why can't even if Chain and Burst Affinity had 2 charges, it would be a significant boon.
Here's a question. Did Blue Mage ever get the job adjustment treatment like Paladin with Majesty or the failed White Mage?
I
Um,
highly doubt it because in the short period that I wasn't playing this game, and by short I mean like 6 years,
mhm.
uh, during the late 2010s, I think Blue Mage was in its peak of meta, and it was very popular and outshined most heavy DDs for whatever
Okay.
reason.
Right.
Uh, I highly doubt they've buffed the job in any significant way.
Okay. I was just curious because like that would be something that I could see being changed during those job adjustments, which ended because of the whole white mage debacle. As far as my understanding of it goes, but yeah, it is a bummer that they never came back and adjusted how the chain and burst affinity works. Does one of their SPs also make them chain and burst?
Yeah, I was saying Azure Lore, their
Azula
SP
does.
one.
Okay. Cool.
During its entire duration, which is short, I think it's only 30 seconds.
Hmm.
Um, it allows both aspects to be applied, as well as providing a significant stat boost. I don't know how to describe it without being stupid,
Just makes
but
them hit harder. Yeah.
um, whatever the stat modifier is, like if it's like if your spell is modified by D int, Azure lore, I think, doubles that.
Okay, that's cool. Is
I
there
still think it's one of the
any?
best in the game.
You still think it's one of the best jobs in the game?
Worst.
Oh, worst jobs. Okay.
Worst SPs.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Oh yeah,
Blue Mage, worst job in the game. You heard it here first. From
confirmed from the
Put my
Dexprozius.
resident
mouth,
Blue
put
Mage.
my
Yeah.
mouth. Love
uh,
the job.
Dex, is there any
That's where we do
other?
the super cut. That we do like the malicious cut of where it's like Dex saying, "I think that Blue Mage is the worst job in the game. Delete it." Yeah.
I do not play Thief, sir.
Oh man, Dex, is there any other like historical fun facts about Blue Mage you want to talk about before we dive into like the more modern stuff,
Historical.
like the stuff that happened between it coming out and more recent stuff, like how it functions now?
I think outside of doing like niche spike damage or just soloing, I don't think Blue Mage outside of the era that I wasn't playing where it was kind of like the main DD,
Hmm.
I don't think it's ever really been a very popular like end game party job where you just bring it. It's more of like I do a little bit less, or I'm too heavily reliant on MP
Hmm.
to bring this stuff full time, but I can do great burst damage and just run around and have a lot of things at my disposal.
Okay, cool. So, we were talking about spells earlier and like how there's not really that you guys can think of a good source of like spells that you should go out and search for. How do you go about building spell sets on Blue Mage? And can you tell us a little bit about how the job abilities and job trait stuff gets affected by those spells?
So as you level up, you unlock more points to spend on your blue magic. Each blue spell has a point requirement to set it in into like a spell set. I don't know, basically like you have a certain amount of slots that you're allowed to use, so you
Mhm.
never have access to all your blue magic at once. You can't
Right.
just like cast it from your menu.
But what are some
Uh,
like some spell sets that you would go about building, and like what are you looking for when you build those sets?
so I would say you'd make like a full balls to the wall damage dealing set that has no utility, where you're focused on adding so many spells to your spell set that provide traits for boosting your damage, like higher tiers of store TP, multi hit, so on and so forth, accuracy attack. Then you'd have like a DD with utility set,
Hmm.
so kind of like cutting back on some of the traits and then adding spells that'll keep you alive or buff you. So whether you're in a party or not, sometimes you need that the ability to erase or give yourself blink or heal the party with cures.
Right. Okay.
Um, you'll have varying degrees of nuke sets, so you can go like all the way up to magic burst or magic attack bonus trait tier like 6,
Hmm.
or you can cut back and have more utility. So there's like the two sides of it. You can either lean all the way into it and just nuke, or you can nuke but have some extra spells on the side to keep you alive. And then like after those basic variants of Blue Mage, there is just super niche stuff. Any fight you do, you can tailor that spell set to that fight.
Okay.
Like if I'm doing Embose, for example, I'm gonna put on the drain spells for the TP, and I'm gonna put on Plantoid Killer and stuff like that.
Mm.
Hmm. What do you think is the
I
most common spell sets that you guys are using these days? And Heghmoh, what kind of spell sets are you using as like you're getting into the job and stuff?
Yeah, I think so. As my like very novice experience, like I'm mostly concerned immediately with because I'm just using it really to farm CP in Limbus, you know, so I just want to do damage and fight and feel good. It's not really about AoE spells or any or specific boss strategies. So I'm mostly looking at like your dual activating dual wield, so I don't have to have a sub jump for that. Activating as much double attack as I can, that kind of stuff, to be like a melee fighter essentially. Um, that's kind of what I'm mostly looking at. Um, but yeah, I think I don't know. Just before we move too far away, I think that that's one of the most interesting things about Blue is that compared to every other job, like not just your spells you're set, but your those combinations. And I know that's what we're talking about. It's like you're you're setting your job traits, which is really super fascinating. It's like it's the only job that works like that, where you're fully customizing how the job plays by setting these different parameters and these different spells in your list,
And on top of
which is
tailoring
really
your
cool.
buffs and your debuffs and your, what your spells can output for any given fight in any scenario. And then the onus is on you to like gear that aspect of the spells. But on top of that, you're correct. Like the traits is such a fucking paramount like aspect of it in
Yeah,
that you can go any one direction and lean really heavily into getting like a really deep high tier of that trait. Like I can go fully defensive or fully magic or fully physical, and
right.
it's all depends on what you're aiming to do.
Yeah, I think like we'll come back to it probably near the end, but I think in that sense, like Blue Mage is honestly probably the most complicated job in the game, in my opinion.
I've been playing it so long that I don't feel that way, but you might be right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
There's a lot
interesting.
to remember in terms of like what provides what trait and how many points things
Or
are.
I guess like in that sense, maybe not the most complicated job, but it has the highest skill ceiling would maybe be like the way to, because like you have to have so much understanding of how these spells interact
Hmm.
and like what the spells do, how it's affecting your traits, how you're gearing for all these specific things. It has all this versatility, but it requires like player skill to really activate more so than any other job, I think.
Okay,
Maybe.
cool.
I think typically like the stuff this is true of the 75 era and of the I9 119 era. It if you're doing blue for like the basic stuff, if you're just if you're buffing yourself and meleeing with swords and doing Savage Blade or Expedition,
Hmm.
or if you're just cleaving, both of those like the two bare bones variants of playing the job, they don't require a lot of expertise, and you can kind of just like set up the spells without getting like the niche spells, and
Hmm.
you can kind of just go. It's kind of plug and play. It doesn't require like a lot of expertise or skill. It's when you do really odd stuff, or you try to solo things, or if you try to fill a different role with Blue Mage, that's when it gets a lot more like complicated and knowledge comes into play, and you have to gear something completely differently.
So here's a question. How often is Blue Mage really having that opportunity where it's just purely DDing in modern endgame with a group?
It really depends on how flexible you're willing to be, right?
Hmm.
Like I'd say it's more popular or potent than ninja to bring to things.
Mm,
Sure. But I feel like
Uh,
a lot of the times that I see Blue Mage in groups, it's for a very specific reason, and that's
yes.
either as like a hybrid DD backup healer for like say Kalunga, or managing TP feed for say Bumba and Bows, stuff like that. I don't often see it as like a pure DD in a group setting. I'm not saying that you can't do that. I'm just
No, no, no.
curious like
And
what the
you're not
practical.
wrong.
Mhm.
I would say typically like most more complicated or off meta jobs that people tend to play less because they're harder. They have higher barriers to entry.
Mhm.
Um, on top of that higher barrier to entry, you need to like be really geared out to see the benefits of these jobs. Whereas other jobs might be more, I just got the easy set and I'm already kind of like doing good enough, so I don't need to worry about it.
Yeah. No, I remember when I first came back after a break of like 2 or 3 years, and your blue mage was outperforming my warrior. So I mean, like I know the blue mages can do the damage. It's good. It's just I don't think it's something that you often see in
No,
groups as like the just blue mage going pure
but like
damage
if I'm
stats.
gonna do a sortie 8 boss,
Hmm.
melee, I've personally done that as blue mage many, many times, filling a DD role,
Hmm.
and you kind of have to to take advantage of its strengths. You kind of have to do different things than you would normally do. So people have to be flexible
Hmm.
and also kind of knowledgeable on how you can take advantage of that. Like you could cleave all the flans while some people do other things, for example, or
Hmm.
you have to know what buffs and debuffs to do to help the party, or every time you get up to like a certain boss, you'd provide the nat meditation attack boost instead of
Mm.
something else. You have to be able to do those things to
Hmm.
make the job shine.
Hmm.
Otherwise, there is no point to bring it versus something that's just going to do more raw damage.
Right. Here's a question because you brought up sortie. Is there any timed content like that where there's a lot of running or maybe even segments or something like that that you're ever changing your spell sets while you're doing the content to like adjust for different bosses or anything like that?
Dynasty, you change your spell set.
Oh, how do you do it in Dynasty?
Well, in Dynasty, the first two waves, like it's very popular to bring 1 to like 5 blue mages
Mm-hmm.
and gather up all the statues and all the stuff, and you just cleave it.
Mm-hmm.
So blue mage is cleaving for the first 2 waves, and then once you get to like wave 3, you can convert your set completely to like a DD melee set and kill all the Volt mobs that way.
Okay,
'Cause
that's
you're not
good.
going to cleave them.
Right. Cleaving gets nerfed in wave 3, right? Similar to how it does in Sortie or Odyssey and Limbus.
It might. I don't know if it does get nerfed
Or is there
specifically, but
just magic evasion just that high?
it might be
I
a
think
combination of
well,
both.
dynamic like divergence is weird too because like green eyes versus blue eyes will have AoE resistance on some of like in Juno, and some of them have magic resistance and things like that. I don't think that the Volt enemies have a AoE reduction. It's just sometimes more difficult to AoE them because
Hmm.
the damage that's happening, and how comfortable your tank is and all that other stuff.
I just think you're not able to gather so many that
Hmm.
That it makes it worthwhile.
your
Yeah.
one cast is doing 5k across like 10 mobs. You're doing
Mm.
50k. But if in wave 1 and 2, you can have like 30 mobs at once, and you're also going to do more damage. So it's like instead of doing 50k, you're doing like 500k per nuke.
Hmm.
It's a lot more reasonable and time management beneficial.
Okay. Is there
But in like
any
wave
is there any
this melee,
other like good examples of content where you're going to be doing like cleaving method for blue mage, so the AoE spells or some sort of variation of that?
Luke can definitely cleave Omen really well.
Hmm.
Like
Mm.
it's kind of like how thieves go in there and just Aeolian Edge. I think blues can just do the same thing.
Okay.
I think in general too, like blue's core identity to a lot of people nowadays is that it's the cleaving job for anything that you just brute force overpower.
Hmm.
True.
You know what I mean? Like so, like getting merit, capping your merit points between HTMB attempts, doing Nisal Isle, like all these other things. Like people generally go to Blue Mage because you can gather up literally 40 mobs, cast a spell, and they all die.
In general,
Yeah.
like blue mage can play in modern endgame content with like a little bit of tweaking or a little bit of sacrifices to one thing or another and what your party is outputting. but in general, Blue Mage is the king of doing like a little bit older content. It just, unlike other jobs, it scales a little bit higher versus older stuff.
Okay. Where would you like expect a blue mage to fit in if you were like a newer player trying to get into the job and like trying to get into groups? Like what are some reasonable expectations you would have? Like a blue mage is like maybe your first or second job and you're trying to use it for group content.
Well, I don't think you would have many issues at all. I think as a new player, right? You can do all the stuff a new player would do as a blue mage, and I think most DDs won't be geared enough to see a significant difference. You can do ambuscade, you can do omen, you can do dynasty, you can do all that stuff. Just without cleaving, you just melee that stuff and just be a DD like any other, but with more
Mhm.
utility.
You just tell them to set like the DD with let's say like healing breeze and some other utility spells
Yeah.
or like
I know you're getting it, but Killing Breeze is poopy.
okay, sorry. So I meant White Wind. I think
Yeah.
that's the one that I meant. The whatever AoE healing is the
I
good
think
one.
most blue mages, before they get like super duper geared, are typically just going to use magic fruit, so
Hmm.
they have a nice gear 4 that they can throw at people.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, White Wind needs like a really tailored set to see the good numbers that you get used to seeing from good blue mages.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
White Wind is strictly max HP, so you need a max HP set with cure potency in it.
So it's based
Hmm.
off of the HP that you have, your max
Correct.
HP? That's crazy. Okay. Are there any other like weird spells that you need like specific sets for? I know that like the
Specific
blue
spell set for like every spell.
can you like dive into some common ones to kind of explain like what some of the weird sets you have to build for this are?
Well, I mean, back in the day, it was a lot more prevalent.
Hmm.
Like, every nuke back in the day was one attribute. Like, Eyes on Me was the most popular nuke back in the day, and that's a charisma nuke.
Oh,
Hmm.
that's really fucking weird. Not gonna lie.
Um, or like I was saying earlier, Charged Whisker was a Dex nuke.
Okay. Is that still
Uh,
something that you have to consider? Like,
it's less something you consider now with nuking,
okay.
especially because you can just stack int and mab and do really good damage with any of the nukes, even though they are modified by those stats still. Like Anvil Lightning is modified by Dex, but you can just stack int and mab and do just great.
Hmm.
Entomb is modified by Vit, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Um I'd say like there's a lot of weird skill buffs. Like occultation is a shadow for every 50 skill you have, or
Hmm.
magic barrier is a magic stone skin 1-to-1 based on your skill. Those are weird.
Hmm.
Trying to think if there's some other silly ones.
Well,
Back in the day, these spells have all fallen off because just of how the game works and how much damage you're able to output. But back in the day, the breath spells were actually quite good.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
Similar to like White Wind, they were based on your max HP. So like on high level targets, you could go out there like sub monk or just with a full HP set and get up to like 1500 HP or even 2000 HP. God forbid, back in the day that was
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. Right.
And you could do like heat breath, and heat breath I believe did 50% of your max HP. So you would just nuke things really hard.
Oh my gosh. Um, Heghmoh, how is your collection of all these sets going on? Because I know you're working on all these niche sets as a new blue mage, right?
no. I told I've got double attack, dual wield, and malignance gear and Naomi. I'm like I haven't even started doing my like reforge or anything like that, but I'm sure eventually I'll get into the nitty gritty of it. I'm just kind of dreading the inventory minus X that's going to come along with that. Dex, how like when you're looking at like going back to like the new player question, one thing that I think that like if you're playing with like a newer group of friends, or like you're not quite to the level of playing that you're in this like super high pressure. We have to have a 5 song bard and full potency core rolls and all this other stuff to do anything. That's the trap that some of us are stuck in that have been playing the game for too long.
Yeah.
Like Blue Mage actually offers a lot of cool utility. Are there any like spells that are like must have for like a fledgling blue that's like, if you're going to augment your party a little bit, you're contributing a little bit of damage, but you can also like put some haste on the party.
Well, the bread
Um,
and butter for Blue Mage is Mighty Guard. I think
mhm.
what made Blue Mage meta in the late teens that I was not around for was Mighty Guard. You put diffusion, you pop diffusion, the job ability that makes your next buff AoE. You wear the shoes that make the spell that you cast diffusion with extended duration, which is the only goddamn way in the game to boost your blue magic duration. For some reason, there's no gear that gives blue magic duration. But yeah, you pop that, and you pop your Mighty Guard on your Unbridled Learning, which is a 5-minute cooldown, and then the whole party gets a 15% haste unique buff that also gives magic defense bonus, defense, and regen. So it's like it just makes your party a little bit tankier. They're regenning. I think it's like 15 a tick, and they get that extra haste. So then you can make sacrifices in your party for damage, or you can change the buffs around. Like you could just do haste 2 plus Mighty Guard from a red mage, and then
Yeah,
don't need anything else.
Hmm.
nice. Yeah, Mighty Guard unfortunately is from Shinryu, right? Exclusively.
Yes.
Yeah, so like it's a tougher one to learn, but if you're at that point as a new player, maybe a returning player or something like that, definitely worthwhile. That was the first, probably the only spell. Well, there's been a few, but Mighty Guard was the first spell that I like target farmed and just ran Shinri a few times to
And I
to
think
get
that's
it.
correct to do. That's probably like one of the first
Yeah.
spells you should learn.
I think Mighty Guard is part of the reason that I don't want to level Blue Mage on like more different characters because I don't want to do the Abyssia storyline personally.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah, because you have to
yeah.
get either access to either Shinryu is
Mhm.
from all of Abyssia, and that's a grind. It is
Yeah.
like you have to kill all the big NMs, you have to kill all the Catare, you've got to do, so many game day wait trips back and forth to Hall of the Gods.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a big one. Um, so Blue Mage, I feel like, is one of the jobs that's often used for like content when it first comes out. I feel like I feel like Blue Mage and Puppet Master are often the two jobs that are looked at to like kind of cheese content until it's figured out, if you know what I mean. I think one of the biggest examples of that would be like Odyssey, Cruel Joke, stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that, and even Cruel Joke in Crawler's Nest and things like that. Dex, what's your experience with like kind of Cruel Joke cheesing and stuff like that?
I mean, I wouldn't say that when content comes out, it's used to cheese it, but those are two examples where that kind of did happen. It was really, really fun, and I will never forgive Spray Nix for removing Crawler's Nest cleaving. Um, you could
Hmm.
gather like I remember when it first came out, when that camp came out, you could go in by yourself, pop like Unbridled Wisdom, give yourself Mighty Guard, Carcarian Verve for the Aqua Veil, and Hardened Shell for like the double cocoon,
Oh
and then
right,
just
yeah.
get like 40, 50 mobs by yourself, sleep them, entomb them, and then cruel joke them, and then wait 60 seconds, and then they all die.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's a mob limit for what you can affect at once. So like
Yeah.
once you have 50 mobs on you, if you cast an AoE, it'll hit up to the mob limit, and then the other ones are kind of like invisible. They're on top of you and they're hitting you, even though you can't see them, but they're just invisible. And you can't.
Right. Yeah.
We would easily get to that point where we had too many mobs on us,
Hmm.
whether it was solo or in a group. Because I teamed up with a bunch of people, and you have a tank pull, you have a geomancer or like multiple blue mages, and you can just either cruel joke things or cleave things. It was really fun.
Have either of you done the Cruel Joke Odyssey segment?
Yeah, you can still do
I've
that
actually,
now.
yeah, I've never done it. I've
Really?
not never even been in a party that has done it.
Oh,
I would recommend
I
it.
missed
it's
out
a
on
lot
that
of
one.
fun. Actually, and it's interesting because like my favorite part about it is that it completely invalidates everybody's like parse, because like people in the endgame community will like to parse the runs and be like, oh my god, I did 11 million damage in segments, you guys suck, haha. Which I want to point out real quick that when I say everybody does that, I mean I do that. But the blue mage, like, because you can't see the damage actually happening,
Mhm.
it just like completely invalidates everything. So like you'll see one DD that's like, oh my gosh, I did 7 million damage, and then the blue mage just like, I murdered 18 different families.
Yeah.
And it's like it's pretty great.
It's tough to do though. You have to be very opportunistic.
Hmm.
Because like you can go in and based on where the families are located in Odyssey, sometimes there's like one down a huge staircase, and that's not worth cruel joking, even though it might be a family that is affected by it. But then sometimes there'll be like three families next to each other, and they're mobs that are resistant to cruel joke or or are unaffected by it. And then
Mm.
you're like, well, this would have been a good poll if.
Right. I still think it's one of the best ways for groups to do segments and be successful if you don't have a lot of gear options, like if your
Yeah,
DDs aren't geared to the teeth, and also like if you're low manning. If you can bring like a tank that knows how to not take damage and like two or three blue mages, you can get a lot done in segments that like a brand new group to it might not be able to.
when Segs was newer,
Mhm.
it was a lot more popular. I think
We did it when we were coming up.
I think the problem with like the meta, the phrase meta,
Hmm.
is people get too latched on to something that works and they don't try
Hmm.
to change anything.
Right.
Like Blue Mage, cruel joking in Sheol C,
Mhm.
you will very often get like most of the mobs, but I'd say it's less common for your group to be able to kill the whole zone. So then people with the mindset of I need to kill the whole zone every single time,
Mm,
they
yeah.
they just they just take that concept and throw it out the window. It's like it's not even part of their lexicon.
Mm,
But
okay.
Blue Mage cleaving with Cruel Joke is nice. You can gather two or three camps with your paladin. The paladin holds everything. You put everything to sleep. You Cruel Joke, and then like 10 seconds later you entomb it. Entomb lasts 60 seconds every time,
Mhm.
and the paladin can run away, and your party leaves you behind, and then suddenly everyone gets like a ton of is it and a ton of segments because everything just dies instantaneously. And if
And
one of them resisted, you clean it up yourself. You'll be fine.
you have to be, like, the blue mage has to stay local to those mobs. You can't just,
It
like,
cannot
everybody
leave
can't run. Yeah.
10 yalms from any target that got hit by it,
Mm.
or it falls off.
Does it fall off of
Imagine
just
how
the one
broken it would
target,
be.
or does it fall off of all of them?
All
Like
each
if
target
oh,
like if you because the mobs gather around you and they're various yalms away from you, right?
right.
So when you cruel joke, and if one's like at the edge of the radius of the cruel joke, because it's all circles,
Mhm.
if you move like two yalms to the left, the one at the edge of the radius will fall off, but not all of them.
Mm, okay. Gotcha. That's pretty cool. Um,
It is really cool, and it's sad that it doesn't get utilized more often.
yeah. If you had the chance to like pick between a group with like two blue mages doing the cruel joke strat for segments and like the normal tank, maybe two cores and a DD, whatever, which strategy would you prefer to do? Just out of curiosity.
That's tough. I'm like a min maxer,
Mhm.
so I don't know if you would like the blue mage strat is RNG. Like
Okay.
some days you'll get uh you'll get groups of mobs
Mhm.
that are all jokeable, or at least within close proximity to one another,
Mhm.
and you'll just fly through the mobs because you're able to gather a bunch real quick. They all die instantly to Cruel Joke while the rest of your party goes and fights the stuff that isn't or is nearby,
Mhm.
and you get done super quick. And then other days, every time that you wanna use Cruel Joke, you don't have a good opportunity, and
Right.
it's just frustrating.
Okay.
Um, the RNG aspect of that is kinda what takes me away from wanting to do it more often, but it is super fun.
Yeah.
I think, in an ideal world, you'd do both to not make the game as boring and monotonous. You'd kinda, like, mix up your strategy.
Mhm. That makes
If I had a
sense.
static group, like, every 3rd or 4th run, I'd wanna do blue mage cruel joking. That'd be fun.
Yeah, for sure. We're giving Heghmoh ideas to reinvigorate his Odyssey climb to bring Blue Mage out there and start messing
Heghmoh,
stuff up.
it's a great opportunity for him. Like,
Mhm.
I've seen how he does, his, segment runs, and
Mhm.
it wouldn't change much.
Yeah, I'm already
Mhm.
failing and getting screwed over half the time anyway.
This might be the key that he needs. So uh for Odyssey fights specifically, since all we're only talking about Blue Mage today. We got some, we can fill some time with this. What Odyssey fights, like bosses, are you bringing Blue Mage to, and what kind of like loadout for spell
From
wise
a
and
meta
what's
sense, like, the
Mhm.
highest difficulty ones, V25s, Blue Mage is the tank for Bumba.
Mhm.
Blue Mage, is used for Embose to, drain his TP, and Blue Mage is used on Kalunga as a DD, hybrid support.
And for the most part, those really aren't like optional. Like Kalunga probably is the most optional, but like Bumba and Bose, you need
That's
the Blue
necessary, yeah.
Mage to be like making sure that the rest of the party can do their job. So
I'd say over time, Kalunga has become more mainstream.
mhm,
When it was more new, like 2 years ago.
mhm.
Has it been that long?
I
Um,
think so, something like that.
I think Blue Mage was kinda like a thought, but not really popular.
Yeah.
People used to bring, like, Geo instead,
Mhm,
or, like, different DDs.
mhm. Yeah, Geo was a popular one, with like a Dark Knight or a Warrior.
Mhm.
But I think Blue Mage has proven
I've
its
seen Beast Mage.
utility for that fight, especially.
Yeah.
And then for Swordy, isn't there like a special Blue Mage Swordy strat that is relatively common?
I don't think it's common. I think it should be more common.
Okay.
Um, well, kinda like how I was saying I would 8 boss, but, um, I would kinda, like, tell my party, "Hey, we can utilize my skill set by doing these extra objectives or, like, doing things this way." Um, the group that was posting on the auction house a while ago, I wish I could give them credit. I don't remember, but they brought multiple blue mages and would gather up a ton of mobs. Like they'd go into the E basement
Hmm.
and they'd have a tank gather up everything in the basement, and then they would just entomb spam them and kill them all.
And they're
Um,
only killing trash stuff, right? Or were they also killing some
they
of
were
the
killing some
NMs?
boss.
They were killing some bosses. Okay.
Like CAGE, the easy ones.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I think that's all they did. So they did CAGE, but then they cleaved all 4 basements, sometimes more than once.
That's crazy.
Oh, right, because you can respawn the mobs down
Yep.
there, can't you? I
Yeah.
You get a
honestly I
little bit
forget
less
about that
points.
function. Um, that's
You get
pretty
a little
cool.
bit less points for respawned, ones, which is why most people don't do it,
Hmm.
but when you're cleaving the whole zone, it's still a lot of points.
Yeah.
And then on top of that
Somebody Oh, go ahead.
when you cleave the basements, you inadvertently trigger the conditions to get the Aurum chests in the basement, which is a good chunk of
Mm,
too.
yeah.
Hmm.
Somebody, I can't remember who it was. If you're in chat, let us know. But somebody said that they recently did they've got an Ammonon strat they've successfully done with a blue tank,
Yeah, that's
which
been
seemed
done
really
too.
cool.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I've heard that as well.
It's kind of the same exact, concept and execution
Hmm.
as with Bumba, where
Mm,
you buff your magic defense, and you ride, magic barrier, so on and so forth, so that you don't take any damage, and
So
that
Yeah.
it's not getting TP.
so here's a question: how is Blue Mage buffing its magic defense to compare to a Rune Fencer or an Aegis Paladin
Well,
when we're doing Amanon?
I would assume you're probably subbing Rune Fencer
Okay.
to start, but I'm sure there's a plethora of subs that you could utilize. But spells wise, you can set magic defense bonus trait. You can wear magic defense bonus gear. Like there's a whole lot that you can wear.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of the gear, like the Odyssey gear, has low PDT or MDT, but has a high chunk of MDB.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then on top of that, the spells you cast. So you can cast Selene Coat. Selene Coat is a massive spike of magic defense bonus, but it decays over 3 minutes.
Mhm.
You can use Magic Barrier, which I said earlier was a 1-to-1 skill to Stone Skin for magic. So instead of Stone Skin, which caps at like 450 if you have all the gear,
Mhm.
you're casting a like 700, 750 Stone Skin, but magic only.
Oh shit. Okay. Uh, are you also like using Feather Tickle and stuff like that to manage
I don't
TP
think
on
you
Blue
would,
Mage? No.
because on
Oh.
Amanon, when you pull him, he's in dark mode,
Mhm.
and then he only changes what element he's vulnerable to if he does a TP move, which you don't
Mhm.
want.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
That's why Absorb TP works, because it's dark.
Right.
And Feather Tickle would not be it wouldn't be dark
It'd be
No,
weak.
it's
wind, right?
So yeah, it's wind. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Same with Reaping Wind. They're both wind.
Cool.
And Breathing Wind is the stronger of the two.
Mm. So another thing that I wanted to ask both of you about is if you're a newer blue mage and you're working on progressing in like the gear that you like from a fresh 99 is your first job, how are you guys working through the gearing process of a new blue mage to fill all of these roles that we've been talking about?
Well, I think your first and foremost task would be getting Malignance gear. It's easier than ever to get now. So
Hmm.
that's what I did. I
Mhm.
came back to the game. I was blue mage only, and I beelined it to Malignance. I did very easy on blue, kind of like how thieves do, and I just spammed it until I got stuff.
Okay. But what are you doing like to actually fight Lilith? Because you probably need a little bit of gear to actually fight her. So you're just using the ambuscade gear, or are you using the fucking HP or the bailed gear? What are you doing for to get to the point where you can kill Lilith?
A combination of Ionmo and Adamar and stuff like that.
Okay.
Ionmo is pretty good.
Yeah, Ionmo, and so you're using the stuff from Escher Ruan and then some okay, once you've got some malignance, what are you guys working on?
Probably the Empyrean, even though the Empyrean is like, it was really sad when Sortie came out.
Mhm.
I saw how strong the Blue Mage's Empyrean set was. It like invalidated the entire nuke set.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
whatever best in slot nuking was before Empyrean just got thrown out the window, and the Empyrean set 5 out of 5 replaced. I was like, that's boring. It's just 5 out of 5,
Mhm.
but it really is the best nuke set, bar none. So getting that will
Oh, yeah.
help you leave and stuff too.
Okay.
But melee wise, like I still melee and Malignance on blue.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I mean like that's probably where I am. Like I've got Malignance gear and Naomi gear, and like I'm coming from a my privileged standpoint of like I've got all that gear from other jobs already.
Mhm.
So I haven't really even done anything specifically to gear blue, with the exception of very first thing you should do is get the gloves that help you learn blue magic.
Mhm.
That should be your first task. But
Those are
uh
artifact?
yes, right?
Okay.
Yes.
So again, do Vanabout and get your free artifact hands.
There you go.
The
And I
Air
think you
Body is
you
nice
only
for
need
weapons.
You only need like the base level ones too. I don't know if the effect even scales past,
You need the base
as
level. It
Reforged,
doesn't
but
scale.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Maybe it does, but like, it's so insignificant that you wouldn't notice.
Are there like any specific pieces of Empyrean that you're going to be working on first, or is the whole set just bonkers?
Probably the head for the weapon skill.
Okay.
Outside of the head, the hands and the body probably as like
Mhm.
an idol for a fresh. That's really strong. Good defense on it. The hands have DT. The legs are really good for DT. The feet are more just straight nukes and burst affinity.
Cool. What about the artifact and relic +4?
Killing.
How did Blue Mage make out with the AF and relic +4 stuff?
Not too well. It didn't change anything.
Oh,
The artifact set is still best in slot accuracy for a lot of stuff.
mhm.
I think it got holes filled in. Like some artifact gear had accuracy but not magic accuracy for a lot of jobs, and on the +4 version it has both. So I think it makes it more viable for landing debuffs and stuff.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mm.
Blue Mage is unique in that a lot of its debuffs are applied to its physical spells. Like for example, Headbutt and Sudden Lunge, or a physical spell that applies stun. It has an additional effect, right? So you want accuracy in your gear to land the physical hit, but you want magic accuracy in your gear to land the additional effect.
Okay, that's interesting.
So gear that has both is more ideal.
Mhm.
Like Malignance obviously does just fine
Mhm.
as both, but your artifact +4 will have a higher tier of that. For
Right.
if you want to swap in all that stuff for whatever additional effect you're trying to land,
Okay.
be it a defense down or the stun or whatever.
Mhm.
But other than that, it's kind of just the gear that was already good. It's just like more stats on it, so do it anyway. The weapon skill damage pieces got stronger.
Yeah.
The relic legs and the artifact body.
Mhm.
However, I don't think either has attack, so it's hard to justify using those over Nyame if you have Nyame.
Okay.
Whereas other jobs like Bard, it's like, yeah, I'm not using Nyame anymore. The body's amazing.
Hmm. So basically, you'd go like Malignance your first priority, and then working towards the Empyrean, and then probably your other JSC. Does Blue
If you
Mage?
don't have,
Go ahead.
if you don't have Zona, I could see using Gleddies, but that's hard to tell a new player to just augment their Gleddies noob. You know what I mean? It's not a
Yeah,
really
yeah. I was
cool
gonna
thing.
say, is there did Blue Mage really make out with any of the Odyssey stuff?
I mean, they're on Gleddies. Uh,
Hmm.
I think it would have been cooler if they were on Sakpatas.
That's how everybody, everybody that's on Gleddies
Yeah,
says that. Like
yeah.
Beastmaster,
Dragoon.
Dragoon.
Oh
and
man, yeah,
Suckfire is just so cool.
Which is they're on Sakpat.
yeah. It's too
Um,
strong.
I don't know. The crit stuff is cool because as a new player,
Hmm.
playing Blue Mage, before even if you have Nagling, I think CDC is still very popular,
Yeah.
and Gleddies is all crit stuff. Like you can 5 out of 5 Gleddies for CDC, and it's strong.
Okay.
Um, but as far as like using Gleddies outside of that, you'd have to have like the max augment on the legs or the body to like justify it,
Yeah. Yeah. Gladys is kind
and
of a weird set.
you wouldn't want the double attack for Tizona AM3, so the body's out. And then if you're riding Tizona AM3, you'd rather store TP than triple attack.
Hmm.
You can have a hybrid of both, but like you're gonna double or triple attack with the AM3 anyway.
Okay.
Speaking of like weapons, and gear progressions and stuff like that, Tizona is obviously the king of weapons for Blue Mage.
Hmm.
Just
I think
because
the
of
best
how
weapon.
it augments how Blue Mage like generates MP. It's also got probably Blue Mage's strongest weapon skill. But if you're a new blue, what's your path to getting there before just going straight into making a mythic?
Well, I think any sword user will just make a negling, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But Blue Mage also excels really well with Maxentius. Maxentius is
True.
super strong.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Black Halo Blue Mage is really great.
There's a bunch of swords that you can offhand. Like you can get the Unity one. I can't remember the name of it. The one that's like curved from the Sarama.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
yeah, yeah. I think it's like the Tan Moyagi or something like that, or is that the or
You
is
can
that
get
the fucking Rise
no,
of
that's
Kima one?
not correct.
Okay, yeah.
You can get the Sakpata sword offhand, which
Yeah.
is just stats. It doesn't need to be augmented to be good.
Hmm.
You can
Yeah,
get
I've been using Sakpata's sword, and it's nice to have like the DT in your kit
it's
and
just a nice
the
utility.
everything else. Yeah.
It
Mm.
provides phalanx. It gives you fast cast, which is recast on your
Hmm.
stuff. If you've augmented it, it has refresh on it. It's just a nice utility item. I offhanded a lot for stuff where I don't need the TP bonus from Thibrin.
Right.
But you can wear the Odin sword in the offhand for multi hit and you know stuff like that.
On
There's
the
just a
other
bunch
end of the
of options for
spectrum, and I'll ask Myth this question because I already know Dex's response. But on the other end of the spectrum, Myth, what do you think about Caliburnus for Blue Mage?
Oh man, I bet it's strong. It might actually be better than Cizona just because of the
no,
skill
that's
chain
where you're
properties. So I'm gonna go ahead and mute Dex real quick
Yeah.
but
Go to the Blue Mage thread on Auction House. This has been discussed. In fact, even more recently, like within the last 2 weeks, someone made a stage 5
mhm,
Mm,
Caliburnus, and they were doing solo Limbus and saying how when the skill chains are going off, it's kind of like just having a Tizona. It might even be like one weapon skill faster. But
mhm,
if you ever party with anybody, it's not worth it.
right. So is expiation doesn't skill chain with itself, does it?
No, but you can do Savage Blade into Expiation for distortion.
Right. Okay. Hmm. I mean,
it's kind of a weird, like tough, like I guess conflict, or it's a paradox in that like if you're solo, you're not getting the most out of the prime weapon because you're not mega buff to the teeth. And if you're in a party, you're not getting the most out of Blue Mage because you can't control the skill chain and stuff,
right.
Um,
I think that's what separates good primes from bad primes. It's not the
yeah,
fault of the prime weapon. They're all really good, all of
Mhm.
them. But some jobs that are on the primes can do just fine when they're not utilizing the skill chain aspect. Others rely on it. And if you're relying on it, then it feels bad when you're like in a party setting and you don't get to.
Yeah. All I know is that
And you don't know much.
I don't know much. That's a good point. I have Caliburnus, and while it's not good, I definitely
Oh,
I
it's completely
definitely
different from what you've been saying.
look. It might not be good, but it's definitely better than Tizona. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
Gotta go.
And whatever anybody else said, they're clearly wrong, and they didn't test enough.
Yeah.
Caliburnus is great.
I really like Caliburnus as long as you get it with the understanding that like it's a play around weapon, mostly for skill
Mm.
chains. Um I I need to like do some okay, I say I need to do some testing, but I'm never actually going to do some testing. But I anecdotally find that my Savage Blades with Caliburnus in like a full buffed situation hit just as hard or harder
Yeah.
than my Savage Blades with Nagling on Paladin, which is weird, but I don't know enough about it to actually like make a definitive
Mm.
statement or even care too
I
much
mean,
about it.
yeah, I don't know.
The
I've been
base
kind
damage
of
and bind
like,
on it and the attack.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's got a
Yeah.
ton of more stats on it for
Yeah,
sure.
it has way more
Only
stats.
only thing that I can diagnose between that anecdote is maybe you don't have enough buffs because the nagling shines specifically because of its additional effect to get
Yeah.
1% attack per buff.
But I think we're attack capped at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, then
I'm
yeah.
talking like swordy upstairs bosses, savage
Yeah.
blading when I have all the bells and whistles, except for like soul voice. But
Fair enough.
I mean, in my very, very limited anecdotal testing, I feel like Imperador was doing comparable damage to Savage Blade when in a mega buffed super attack cap situation. I know that those are not as common, but anyway, we can go back talking about Blue Mage. But
well, now that we're back on the Blue Mage train, I think
Before we get
after
off,
one of the
I would say
first things Blue Mage should do is get Caliburnus. Anyway, go on,
Mm,
Dex.
yeah.
I would say, you know, I don't think it's like some sort of crazy epiphany, but if you're gonna get a Caliburnus, you obviously already have a Naegling.
Yeah, most
But
likely. Yeah.
but that being said, like if I have a Caliburnus, I'm not gonna use Naegling. I think it's not as strong.
Mm,
Like
fair.
even in a world where you're just spamming Savage and doing more raw number, I think the Caliburnus will just provide more utility alone. That's worth like a 2 to 5% DPS loss.
Yeah.
But this
Oh,
can
yeah.
make up the difference easily.
I can't
And
wait
the
until you
DT
make
with
yours
everything
and you
else.
come back and you're like, guys, I was wrong. It's the best ever.
I was wrong.
And
This is crazy. Why didn't you guys tell me about this?
And we can point to this exact moment.
Yeah.
We've been telling you about this.
Not better than Tizona, but I do think it's better than Naegling.
So, you know, I don't think we've actually discussed what makes Tizona really interesting, specifically. And besides expiation being a really strong weapon skill,
Well, we touched on it, right?
did we?
Well,
The MP
you're
return?
leaning you're about to lean into the MP,
Mhm.
which Heghmoh mentioned. But
Oh,
I'm
okay.
saying that Blue Mage's gear
Mhm.
gravitates them towards Malignance because they don't really have a lot of good options.
Mhm.
And stacking store TP just naturally benefits from the Empyrean Aftermath. Or Mythic Aftermath.
Yeah, for sure. I think those are both great points. And here's a question: how often are you using Thebrone on Blue Mage, the TP bonus offhand sword?
Mm.
Majority
And
of the time.
when are you taking it off?
I'm taking it off if I'm in need of accuracy.
Mhm.
If I'm solo and I'm more concerned about my survivability, or if I'm cleaving.
So, secondary question, follow-up question. If you're low on accuracy, have you considered Gazu bracelets? he just left.
He just
He
disconnected.
just
All right. Well, thanks guys for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, that'll be the end of the show. What did you say?
I went through a tunnel.
You went through a tunnel. Jesus. Yeah. So I'll take that as a yes. Or
Mhm.
just like he had an
I'll
epiphany.
nod my head and smile.
I assume that he jumped off because he was like, "Oh my god, what have I been doing with my life?"
That was
without Gazu
actually
bracelets.
I took it as like he was just pretending like he wasn't going to respond because he didn't want to reveal his pro Blue Mage strats to the world
Oh my
yet. Because
god.
Mhm. That makes sense.
You guys are terrible.
I'm just saying they've got a lot of accuracy on them. Okay, I don't know
Yeah,
what's wrong.
sure.
There's nothing wrong with that statement. All right. So unless you guys have any other thoughts on like the modern Blue Mage stuff, let's get into some speculative and maybe perhaps dangerous daydreaming about what you would like
ooh,
changed about Blue Mage.
absolutely.
Sure.
So
I want to hear what Heghmoh, because he's the new blue. What are your pain points?
Heghmoh, explain to me why Blue Mage sucks.
Okay.
Whoa!
All right, let's get started.
Not warrior.
I think that like, you know, and I'm very, very much so far behind a lot of my other jobs on Blue. So I can't really draw a fair comparison quite yet. But I would say that like I think that Blue Mage suffers in the same way that Ninja does. Like I think we've compared Blue Mage to Ninja a lot today already.
Mhm.
And I think
Yes.
that that's kind of how they they both suffer in the same way in that they're capable of doing a lot, but they're not good enough at any one thing in any like end game meta to really replace something. You know, with the exception of like TP denial, maybe if you're able to use feather tickle or something like that. But like when you're looking at building your sortie group or most of the Odyssey fights that aren't TP denial, and you're looking for a slashing damage or something that's hybrid, like Blue Mage isn't going to be your first or second or third or fourth pick. Um, so I think that that's like, you know, maybe the one thing that stands out to me is that for all of its complexity, it's I still stand by. I think it's a very high skill cap job that's capable of doing some absolutely insane, really cool, crazy stuff if the player really understands all the intricacies. But for all of that, like if you were this like prodigy of playing Blue Mage, you're still like sweating to keep up with something that's brain dead easy like Warrior. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a situation where I, as a biased Blue Mage player, I would refer to it as better Ninja. It
Yeah.
it does what
Except,
Ninja
you know,
likes to do
it
in that
depends on
it
what
has,
you mean better.
it
Ninja
does what
does
Ninja
look
likes
really
to do
cool.
in that it can kind of like solo stuff with shadows. It
Hmm.
it can do both damage types. In that Blue Mage would nuke with its stuff, whereas Ninja can do hybrid weapon skills. Um, it has some debuffs that are kind of weaker than real debuffs from a red mage. It just it does fast damage, but not like big DD damage. So it's kind of like one of those light DDs.
Yeah.
Um, it kind of fits alongside Ninja, Thief, Beast. It's not doing heavy DD damage.
Hmm.
Um, but where it's different is that it has all the other tools that Ninja doesn't. It has um, like more substantial debuffs. It has better buffs. It has party utility.
Hmm.
It can cure. So that's kind of what sets it aside. And I also just think it does more DPS, but that might just be me.
I'm gonna um I'm gonna say something and I want to hear what you guys
Oh,
think about this. I think the issue is not with Blue Mage. I think the issue is that the game right now is not in a place to accept hybrid support DDs. And I think the biggest issue is the player culture surrounding the meta and the way that the current content is designed.
oh, that's definitely a huge aspect of it.
Yeah, I
For
don't
like a
know.
Yeah, I
lot
think
of
I mean,
content, like even Sortie, I personally think that Blue Mage brings more to the table than say Dark Knight. Maybe not Warrior and Samurai or
mm,
Dragoon, but
Mhm.
like if you can provide buffs for your party or debuffs for the mob, that's a lot more significant for the overall party's contribution.
Yeah.
You won't see those numbers yourself, but what you've benefited the party and boosting everyone else's numbers is more relevant.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
that's fair.
the utility that Blue Mage and jobs like I would honestly compare it more to Dancer than I would Ninja. Um I think jobs like that
That's
have
fair.
so much ability to do things to help the party. It's just one, the content doesn't require those things to happen, so players aren't going to do it. And two, the players just want to see big damage, either big damage or big numbers from Gallimaufry halls or
Yeah,
segments. That's why Dancer got included in the meta sortie composition, right? Is because it helped
right.
increase the overall number that you were getting at the end of the day compared to say a blue mage.
Well, a blue mage could, like, if you're doing an 8 boss,
Hmm.
you're not doing 9 boss, right?
Exactly.
Um, if you're doing an 8 boss, then you could sub out the Dark Knight for a blue mage, and I would wager that if your blue mage is good enough, you're gonna be able to kill the mobs just as fast, but you might be able to now cleave some extra stuff and get another 2 to 4,000 points per run.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, I think going back to like we said this earlier, I think another big problem with blue is that it's designed for a pace of game that doesn't exist anymore.
yeah,
That's
Like
true. Yeah.
it very similar issue that um I don't know, similar issue that Thief has, right? Where like Thief has this kit that depends on people positioning in certain spots, using sneak attack, using trick attack to augment their damage to really take advantage. And Blue Mage has to like, use chain affinity, use burst affinity, make a skill chain, create a magic burst to really be optimal.
There's an aspect that we
Um,
haven't touched on, which is if you're mid content, um, and you want to change what you're doing, you need to set your spells, which takes, if you're doing it manually and not using third party shit, it takes like over a minute. And then
yeah,
after you have done it, you then have to wait 60 seconds to then cast any spells. There's a cooldown.
yeah. It really it punishes you and removes your ability to be flexible in a lot of situations, which
yeah,
is really
You need to
unfortunate.
really be sparing and timely with how you do it and when you do it.
I,
The
yeah.
fact that you know, people who play on Windower and yada yada know that there is an add-on that switches your spells for you, and it's like the most important thing for Blue Mage.
Hmm.
Uh, that fact that that exists is what is making Square Enix add this new blue set thing that they're working on. Hopefully, they add it soon, and it antiquates the third party. I'd much prefer to use that,
Hmm.
but I think that won't address the core issue in that it takes too long for you to get your spells back after doing it.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you think if they dropped that time, the lockout to like say 30 seconds, would that fix it, or does it need to be even
I
quicker than
think
that?
Blue Mage's current issue, outside of its physical spells don't do enough, or its debuffs aren't strong or potent enough or accurate enough,
Hmm.
or its buffs don't last long enough. The issue outside of the spells is all of its timers are really wonky and too long. Diffusion is on a 10-minute
Yeah.
cooldown, and it's the most important job ability Blue Mage has.
Yeah.
Like giving buffs to my party, I want to do that every minute. Like if I'm not forced to use it on Mighty Guard every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes, rather,
Hmm.
like I would love to give my party Nat Meditation before every like boss.
Mm.
I would love to give my party other things. If I had it on 1 minute, I could keep my party haste 2'd, and that would be a huge thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you could provide haste to the party, like that clears that's like one of the big advantages why I bring red mage to everything is because
Hmm.
Dollar doesn't get
it's
haste.
yeah, it's haste 2 on the party, and you also get the free up a song. You don't have to do victory march anymore. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
Like and that would change a lot.
Putting diffusion on a 1-minute timer would transform the job overnight.
Hmm.
On top of that, I mentioned earlier that chain affinity and burst affinity are like they're antiquated. I think they need charges. I think they need to be shorter. Being 2 minutes without charges is terrible.
Yeah.
Um, I
Just
think its SP
change
isn't good.
change burst and chain affinity to a stance.
A stamp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you can either burst and you can skill chain as a stance. You can swap between the two stances.
I think
Um,
30 seconds is fair to what you were saying. Like switch your spells, wait
mhm,
30 seconds. That's fair. Waiting a
Yeah.
minute is murdering you.
mhm, mhm,
Yeah, I don't know. I think that like burst affinity and chain affinity in like I wouldn't want to take that away from the John because they're so iconic and like I'm sure people still use them for solo play,
mhm.
but I almost feel like that blue needs something else that it brings to encourage them to use, spells and things like that.
How about this?
Um in
I
Zerg content that's like just everybody's about doing as much weapon skill and whatever as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How about this? And this is probably really controversial. And I I could see people complaining about this being too powerful, but the spell set that you choose make that only apply to the traits that you get, but then everything else you can cast whenever you want.
Oh, wow, you get your full spell list. That'd be
Get the
crazy.
whole spell list, but the spell set is just for traits.
That'd be kind of cool. It might be a little too busted. I don't know.
See, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. It's not overtly like, if you think about it, it's like that's just a ton of utility, but then all the other mages get a ton of utility at all times.
Until you're going through, yeah. Until you're like, oh, hold on, let me cast that spell, and you're like going through 18 pages of spells in your menu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Blue Mage has 194 spells, so yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, that would be
I think at least 80 of them are completely useless and outdated.
Well,
Maybe if you get your whole blue spell list, but you can hide some. You know, like, can I take some off? It's opposite.
There you go.
I did think it would be like not overpowered. It sounds overpowered at face, but I don't think it would be. And it's a pain point to playing Blue Mage, right? So I'm playing Blue Mage main, and I have to choose whether or not I have Cocoon or if I have Reactor Cool instead, because I want a longer Cocoon because there's no duration gear for your buffs. I have to choose if I set Winds of Promi, and then if I chose not to set it, then something hits me with some nasty debuff and I can't erase because I just don't have access to it.
Just sub white mage. I don't understand. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, just play with a white mage all the time.
Blue Mage is all about making choices
Mhm.
before the content even starts.
Yeah.
Which is kind of rough that you just get punished, especially if like
Yeah,
you're newer to
yeah.
content. But
You've made your choice and now you have to deal with it.
Messie's like, you made your bed. This is what you get. Blue Mage is just trying to like fucking cast and survive in Odyssey segments. Poor guys. So now that we've discussed how bleak the future of Blue Mage looks, what would you guys say to new players that are looking to get into the job? Like, let's try to wrap this up with a more positive note. What would you say to new players? What do you like about the job? What words of encouragement would you give to them?
From a feel of play, I think it's one of the most fun jobs to play. When I'm solo, just being able to like one-shot stuff with nukes or to do damage to so many things at once is really satisfying. Being able to sell skill chain is really fun. Like when I'm solo, I can go over and do like Savage Blade to Expiation is Distortion, to Chain Affinity Sinker Drill's Darkness, to Burst Affinity Spectral Flow, and do like damage cap with Spectral Flow. It's really fun and satisfying. I think it's like my go-to job to play solo, and has a lot to do with how fun it is, but also it's just effective, and it allows you to just choose what you're gonna do at any point and change how you play for that piece of content.
Yeah.
So the flexibility makes it also like a really desirable option.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, if they're a new player, and here's my like, this is what I say to most people that play off meta stuff, and it's maybe not super encouraging, but it's like, you know, the great thing about Final Fantasy 11 is that you can play an off meta job and it can be your passion job. You know what I mean? It's like the job that you want to play that is for, your solo adventures and doing goofy stuff, and it has a really high skill cap. So like there's a lot of expression that you can get out of it. But the great thing is that you can also work on simultaneously gearing something like Red Mage. There might be a lot of gear overlap. Or something like that, where you can have that to fund your passion. But at the same time, like Blue Mage has a lot of things that it does do really well, that as a new player is going to accelerate how quickly you can progress. Being able to farm AoE farm even merit points to cap out your merits for the first
That was
time
huge for
or
me.
farm HTMB is amazing. Being
Yes.
able to speed run through Nizal Isle faster than anybody else can is going to
Very much
help
so.
you make your Tizona faster. You know, like it has a lot of things in its kit that are actually really, really good for new players.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, it is a very new player friendly job, while also being a very high skill cap, skill expression kind of game for the game.
Cool. I will say, like, as an aside, I think Blue Mage has one of the strongest and coolest images in the game.
Oh yeah,
Like the story behind it, the the gear that it has, like the JSE, all looks amazing.
It's
Um,
really aesthetic as
yeah,
a job.
yeah.
The way it casts the spells, the way the gear looks on it, uh, everything. It's really
Mhm.
aesthetic.
And honestly, I'm surprised more new players, like I always see new players choose either Dark Knight Thief or Puppet Master. I'm
hmm
surprised more don't choose Blue Mage.
I think it's a cult following kind of job.
yeah.
I think it's in the top, like, I'm not gonna say 5, but, like, top 10 in terms of, like,
Hmm.
Hmm.
popular mains.
Okay.
I think that yeah, I don't know. I think that Blue Mage, I totally agree with you. I think it I always said until I started recently like dabbling in Blue Mage that Blue Mage is the coolest, my favorite job in the entire game that I'm never going to play
Hmm.
because like it aesthetically is very cool, narratively is very cool. Like everything about it is just super unique and very interesting. But I think for a new player, maybe the reason that it's not quite as common as some of the, you know, your Dark Knight, your Thief even, is that like when you start playing this game, there's so much stuff to learn and be inundated with. And when you're also trying to figure out the complexity of Blue Mage and you have this list of spells you have to go hunt down, it's
It's
like,
time consuming.
okay, maybe I don't need to add more complexity to something that's already overwhelming.
Hmm.
But
It definitely was a boon for me having come from the 75 era
yeah.
and a blue mage.
Hmm. Yeah, that's fair.
I could choose to, like, work on my core right now, but I have this blue mage and I enjoy it, and I can use that to do activities to supplement my other jobs.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, like, doing all those things as a blue really kinda streamlined my progression path. I did all my merits, like, right away. It was one of the first things I did.
Yeah. I think there's something to be said about having that solo play job for doing things like Nizal Isle or
Yeah.
assaults or whatever. Like for me, that's or sorry, not Blue Mage. We've been talking about Blue Mage. For me, that's Beastmaster,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which I think is another like off the beaten path job. But I really like those jobs that are able to do that stuff, even if you don't get to play it as much as you typically would want.
I think most players do start off with a job that excels in solo play, and if they don't do that, then they're playing Thief, right? And that's the, like, I know that was, like, quippy, but it's also
It-
true.
yeah.
Like,
I don't think Thief is too bad at the solo stuff, but there's definitely better choices to be
no,
made out
it's
there.
worse at the solo stuff, but you're trading off the solo stuff for, "I'm getting things a little bit faster in drops."
Right, yeah.
And at a low level, that's much more effective than at the end game where TH doesn't affect anything.
Right. Yeah, it's fair. And then here's the last question that I wanted to bring up. So like 5 years ago, when we started this podcast, our very first official episode was the state of the meta. And we discussed and tier listed every job. This was before Heghmoh was born.
Yep.
But since he's been on the podcast
Where
since
did we put blue? Like
I
C tier?
I believe Blue Mage in the eyes of the meta, not really like its overall like solo play kind of stuff, but I think we put it in C tier because it is a good job. It does have uses, and it is like mandatory for certain end game fights. Would you
Yeah.
guys still agree with that, or would you try to change that rating that we gave
I
it?
can't justify putting it in B. I want to,
Hmm.
but it just isn't utilized in enough content yet. What has come out since our initial Limbus?
Yeah.
I don't think Limbus has
Yeah.
changed that. I think Blue Mage is very good for Limbus. It's
Mhm.
one of the best jobs for Limbus. Slept on even.
Mhm.
Uh, why take a white mage when you can take a blue mage? The blue mage can
Mhm.
entomb everything, even the pixies.
Yep.
The blue mage can sleep things. The blue mage can white wind and keep your party alive. The blue mage will do more damage than the white mage by a lot.
Mhm.
I think it's slept on. That being said, uh, Limbus is kind of like who gives a shit content. You can
Yeah.
bring
Yeah.
anything.
Like that being
You
said,
can bring
fuck
anything.
Limbus.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter what you bring to Limbus.
Yeah.
If you want to min-max the shit out of it and be more efficient, then yeah, there's specific jobs that fill that role.
Mhm.
Or you can just take 10 minutes, 15 minutes longer and bring whatever you want.
Yeah.
So that doesn't
Or
change any bot
or
meta for me.
or you can just do the myth strategy and just don't do it.
Hey, I
Yeah.
did a lot of Limbus for like 2
Man.
weeks and then I stopped. Yeah, you're right. I'll get back into it once I finish my spell resos though. And we start really
I got 4 out of 5 murky matters. My murky ring's up to 25.
Holy shit. That's
No, it's
crazy.
not.
Yeah.
25?
Yeah, it is. 25.
Wow. I mean, I've seen Heghmoh. He does a lot of Limbus.
I do a lot of Apollyon.
Mm-hmm.
I
Not
refuse to
a
go
lot
into
of
Temenos.
Yeah.
I don't think I've even been into Temenos in like over a month.
Oh man, you're gonna be suffering for that when the
Yeah, when I
Alabaster
finally switch
earring
off.
gets upgraded to R45 in the next
Yeah.
Limbus update.
Yeah, somebody was saying they had like 12 or like 7 extra alabaster matters so far.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh man, I guess it's time to start working on the cape. And they're like, well, I'm gonna wait till everything releases. And I was like, that's smart. Because you never know. You never know what they're gonna do.
Yeah. You might be able to do a boss and get like 10 matters from one boss fight or some shit. And then,
Yeah, either that or like the to fight Ultima and Omega, you're gonna have to trade an alabaster and a murky matter to a thing. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
no.
Like
Yeah. If that's the case, then I'm glad I have some people that have just been sitting on extra matters because they've been
nice.
too lazy to turn them in. But yeah. That's all I've got for the day, boys. You guys have anything
Nice.
else that you want to share with our faithful, loyal followers that
Play
we
Blue
really
Mage.
appreciate? Play Blue Mage Idiot. Okay. All right, you sold me. I'm all in
Wow.
now. Yeah, that's all it took.
Good.
It was a
It's about
3.5 hour conversation, and you called me an idiot.
I do that every episode though.
You're not wrong. All right. Thanks, guys. And thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us today. Again, we'll be gone for 2 weeks. So email
Happy
us
Thanksgiving,
on
everybody.
BlurredXI. Yeah, if you're American, enjoy American Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
If
And
not,
if you're not American,
no. If you're not American,
no.
enjoy the rest of the month. And we will see you all next time when we are back.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay, bye.
Better have a lot of
No.
emails.
Oh, geez.